People that do this, and they go, it doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work. And it's like, well, you got to talk into the microphone. And if you're this far away from it, it doesn't work well either. And don't eat it, but I tell people about like this is perfect.
Great.
So if you want to be heard.
Oh, there it is. It's on.
Yeah, yeah. Button. It's
Oh,
both
okay.
green.
Oh, okay.
So when you turn it, it's not.
I just sent it somebody.
You.
Oh.
I'll be here another 5 minutes or so. I don't know about that.
Take a hammer down.
We would take it.
Been there. Hard,
Is it?
yeah.
I didn't prepare.
I got a pretty good paper. cut
Oh,
trying to do that.
Check that out. No. Did you get any other? Is all great and rock and roll for Saturday. I didn't. Not very good. Doesn't look good. I think she's. Yeah, no, I mean. Kind of thing, Bo and Elena and everything like that. It's going. It's going. Well, and. Cool. I can't.
So there's gonna be like something basic wrong with it, and I.
Good afternoon, commissioners.
Like,
Commissioners. Good afternoon, good evening, commissioners. We're about to get started with the meeting. There was a couple of household items I wanted to kind of check with you guys before we get started. Thank you all for being here. We have 4 commissioners, so that gives us enough for a quorum. Chairperson, we will kind of follow it the same way that we've done it before, as if you were in Zoom, and just that whole situation. We'll be controlling the areas here. We will also get, when we get to the point of the public comments, we'll let you know if there's any as well. Aside from that, I did want to mention to everyone, and now that we're all here, when it comes to public comments, that's the time for the public to give us their opinion. However, a lot of the times in different commissions, not here, they tend to kind of try to talk about that specific comment as it's being made. We can't do that. That's not on the agenda. So it's only for us to hear. And then we move forward with the next person if we have anybody that wants to provide comments, okay? Aside for that, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'll let you know like we do, and then I believe you have the script and we just kind of go off of that. Awesome, here we go. One last thing, commissioners, make sure that if you do speak, you do turn on your mic and go ahead and speak to it when it's your time. And then you just go ahead and press on it again to turn off the mic. You're all set, Chairperson.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the March 23rd, 2023 Parks and Recreation Community Services Commission regular meeting to order at 5:35. This meeting is taking place entirely in person in the City Council chambers. The public is accessing the media via the Santa Ana YouTube channel or the city's website, or they're here in person. Please bear with us as the technology may disrupt the flow of this meeting. Will the recording secretary please call roll?
Thank you, Chairperson. Commissioner Matthews. Commissioner Torres.
Present.
Commissioner Gomez. Commissioner Nelson.
Present.
Commissioner Wu. Commissioner Diaz.
Present.
Chairperson Herrera.
Present.
You have a quorum, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, recording secretary. Now we will go into the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we can start the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda are the presentations for Employee of the Month, and we do have a couple this month, so we will go ahead and read these off. We'll first start off with Cyrus Parker Jeanette, and they currently work at the Santa Ana Zoo. How exciting. So Cyrus has been a volunteer in they're actually a volunteer for the zoo. So Cyrus has been a volunteer in the education department of the Santa Ana Zoo since 2019. Her enthusiasm for working with zoo guests of all ages is simply courageous. As an education volunteer, Cyrus is among the first interactions guests will have when visiting the zoo. You will find Cyrus out and about around the zoo, showing guests interesting artifacts and using movement to teach about adaptations. At the goat yard, she invites guests to touch and brush the goats while truly getting to know them with stories of goat personalities and antics. Cyrus has also taken on the additional responsibilities of being an ambassador animal handler, completing additional trainings in animal safety, presentation, and guest communications. She can often be found with Rosie Boa, encouraging even the shyest guests to learn about snakes, safely touching the snake, and developing a true respect for all animals at the zoo and beyond. During Zoo Explore education program, she rotates between animal handling and presenting information stations to students, and has been a great mentor for new volunteers and staff just starting with interpretation. Cyrus shines at Zoofari and other special events, bringing out a love for the zoo for both animals and children and adults alike. The zoo is grateful for Cyrus and her hundreds of hours of service, her dedication to zoo programs, animal and guest experiences, and her enthusiasm for what the future holds. So we'd like to honor Cyrus for Employee and Volunteer of the Month. And we have this cool certificate. Great. Our next Employee of the Month is for Pablo Antonio. And this is also for the zoo. Pablo Antonio started at the Santana Zoo as part of the Santana Youth Employment Program. His experiences at the zoo have reawakened a passion for insects and invertebrate, which he shares with the community at the zoo and during outreach events. Pablo is an enthusiastic learner who jumps into new projects and readily assists other staff. At the end of his SAVE program hours, he was hired into the zoo education department as a program leader. He's been an integral part of the Flight Butterfly Habitat experience in creating butterfly guides for the zoo staff and volunteers to use, and sharing his enjoyment of the habitat with guests of all ages. Most recently, Pablo has taken the lead on a video project to advertise zoo education programs to the community in both English and Spanish. And he's made the biggest impact at the zoo with our guest opportunities and outreach. And we look forward to his continued growth with the zoo. So if you all can, round of applause for Pablo and his Employee of the Month certificate. Thank you so much, Pablo, for your work. Our next Employee of the Month is for Mary Long, and another Employee of the Month for the zoo. Mary has joined the city with prior experience working in higher education, both as an instructor and in administration. Mary leverages her past experience to provide stellar customer service to visitors, staff, and partners. Mary is an asset to the zoo team, supporting procurement, safety, green practices, and efficient visitor services. Recently, notable performance includes implementation of Safety Bingo, which is a fun way to promote safety and encourage a positive workplace. Mary overhauled the zoo's practices surrounding trash handling by transitioning the facility to biodegradable bags, reduced redundant trash receptacles in the zoo, improved recycling efforts, and eliminated bags entirely in some areas where trash can be dumped directly. Mary works closely with vendors and is a liaison with purchasing, helping deliver sometimes challenging and time-sensitive materials that zoo staff need. Mary is an excellent communicator and is critical to the zoo's ability to apply for grants. And they also promote team building amongst the staff and they collaboratively developed our first diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion plan. So if y'all can give a round of applause for Mary. Mary, we thank you. We have three more. This is another community service award, and this is for Coach John Salcedo. Thank you so much for your volunteer experience. Coach Salcedo has volunteered his time to the youth sports program since 2018. Recently, he has volunteered to coach 2 teams during each of the flag football and boys basketball seasons. During the flag football season, Coach Salcedo was recognized for his efforts and was awarded the Coach's Sportsmanship Award for Division C. John shows his commitment and dedication to the youth assigned to him by always showing up to practice and games on time and being prepared, working to teach and develop each child's fundamental skill set for the sport while emphasizing the importance of teamwork and responsibility, encouraging the youth to focus on school while finding a way to honor the time commitments that being a student athlete require. He leads by example and always showing respect and sportsmanship towards officials, opponents, and staff during his scheduled games and practices. Coach Salcedo recently took his 6th seed boys basketball Division C team to league championship game where they were successful and crowned league champions Wow, that's so cool. They allowed the team to advance to the Orange County SCMAF tournament, where they were crowned tournament champions after defeating the cities of Garden Grove and Huntington Beach. The team will continue its successful run by participating in the SCMAF Federation tournament. Can you all give a round of applause for John Salcedo, Coach John Salcedo? This is great. Our teams are winning. We have two more. This is for the part-time employee for Parks and Recreation, Enrique Cardova, who is the maintenance attendant. Enrique is a real player and has been a vital part of Parks and Recreation for many years. He is extremely helpful and has been a dependable employee who has worked in a variety of divisions and at various facilities. He always has such great attitude and amazing customer service. He shows up to work with energy to get things done. His commitment to the team has been instrumental in making sure our events and programs go smooth. He is a great team member to the Parks and Recreation team, and we are proud to have him. So this is Employee of the Month for Enrique Cardova. And last but not least, we have Employee of the Month for Parks and Recreation, Stella Fajardo. She is the Executive Secretary. So Stella is the prime example of a team player and is always willing to help with anything. Stella always volunteers to do additional tasks in the office and assist those who need help, offering her expertise to multiple divisions of the department. She is the Executive Secretary for our Director of Parks and Recreation and does a number of tasks to keep things moving, such as scheduling, ordering, inputting new hires, requisitions, as well as many other tasks. Despite having a lot of work, Stella is constantly asking how others are doing and finding out how she can make their work easier. She has excellent communication and teamwork skills that make the workplace a positive environment. She always makes herself available for anything we may need, even after work hours, as she takes her laptop home just in case something is needed, which I hope she's paid for. She is always very instrumental in making the move of the Parks and Recreation staff from the second floor to our new temporary home for 9 months within the planning department of Breeze. Stella is a vital part of our team, and we are thrilled to have her as a part of the team. And can we give a round of applause for Stella? Great. These are amazing, and I know our staff are amazing, so please continue to honor our staff and community volunteers. Next on the agenda is a time for public comments. Recording Secretary, does anyone wish to speak?
Chairperson Herrera, we do not have any public comments at this point in time.
Okay, thank you so much. For folks that do want to speak, I encourage the public to attend the various ways that they can share with us the commission here, either by phoning in, watching on YouTube, or on joining by Zoom, or coming here in person. Parking is validated, so we encourage the public to come in and make public comment. So please continue to reach out to us for any needs that you may have. Okay, great. So now I think we're going to be moving on to consent calendar items. Next on the agenda is the consent calendar. Items 1 and 2 are the minutes of the regular meeting of the February 23rd, 2023 meeting and excused absences. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the 23rd, 2023 meeting and excused absences?
I motion.
A second.
Great. Do anyone oppose? Okay, so then all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I believe that is, we can move on.
Thank you, Chairperson. Duly noted, unanimous acceptance of the minutes.
Great, thank you so much. That is the end of the consent calendar. Next on the agenda is new business. So tonight we have 4 items, which is great. We love talking up here about the great work of Parks and Rec. And so being able to highlight the work to the public, I think is very important. I will now hand this over to Community Services Manager for item 3, which is on the Standard McFadden Park Naming Ad Hoc Committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Herrera, and good evening. I'm asking for support in creating an ad hoc committee so that we can join our youth commissioners to participate in the naming of our newest park that's going to be added hopefully by the beginning of 2024, which it currently sits at Standard and McFadden intersection. We're very excited about adding this park. It will serve 3 communities, specifically Pacific Park, Madison Park, and Cornerstone Village. So we brought this before the Youth Commission at their last meeting, and we have 3 commissioners that are willing to join this ad hoc committee. I'm asking for 2 to 3 to join the youth commissioners so that when we do receive the nominations from the community and the neighborhood associations, that we can have a vibrant discussion about what we would like to bring forward to the planning commission, who will then submit that name to the city council for consideration for the naming of Standard and McFadden. And again, I would love to hear anybody for their volunteer. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manager Pagano. Yes, I think, do we have folks that, where does Standard and McFadden, what ward is that?
I believe it is in Ward. It's probably right on the border of Ward 2 and Ward 6.
Do we have Ward 2, Ward 6 commissioners that are maybe interested in joining? Okay, we have Commissioner Maria Zacarias and Commissioner Diaz that may be interested. Commissioner Nelson?
I was on the ad hoc committee for previous naming. I do hope that we take it a little bit more serious. We've spent a lot of time with the youth commission and us as the ad hoc committee, and then the council went a completely different way, which I don't disagree with per se, but it was definitely, I think especially on the youth side of things, I think it sent a kind of a poor message that we spent a lot of time and energy figuring it out, and then we changed direction. So if you are on the committee, just, hold strong and figure out collectively, and hopefully we can do this together. So.
Thank you for those comments.
I have a quick question. How would that work though? Like you guys worked on getting a name and then what happened? Was not approved? How does the process work?
Well, the
So-
process, I think we ended up with about like 3 different names that were suggested through staff, and then we kind of went in as an ad hoc committee to go over it, and then we agreed upon one specific name, and then when they presented it to the council, they decided they wanted to change the name to something completely different, which is perfectly within their
Correct.
rights. I think they would have, for the youth commission more so than, I no feelings hurt here, but I think that they spend a lot of time and energy, and then to kind of get the rug pulled out from anything, it sends a bad message. At least send them back, say, hey, we would also like you to consider this name, or whatever. But it just kind of, there was a few of the youth commissioners that were like, why did we waste our time? Right. And we don't want to do that if we can help it. So.
Yeah, and Commissioner Nelson is correct. Essentially, as the Parks Recreation Community Services Agency, we take the lead on the naming of the park. So we have chosen to engage the community, much like we did at the Pacific Park Neighborhood Association. And we're doing that with the Madison Neighborhood Association, and partly through the school district for the Cornerstone Village Neighborhood Association, to receive feedback. The next step is to create this ad hoc committee, which we did last time for the Rayton Myrtle Park site, which is now named Ed Carruthers Park. And the ad hoc committee basically decided on 3 to 6 names, I believe, that were appropriate and they wanted to forward back to the Parks and Rec Commission here. And the Parks and Rec Commission received that information, then decided to select one name to then forward to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission heard it, basically unanimously said that this was going to be our recommendation to the City Council. And Commissioner Nelson is correct. At the City Council, they do have the right to collectively decide, hey, we're going to be going in a completely different direction. So that is part of, I guess, the policies and procedures, and well within the rights of the City Council to do so. So again, duly noted, and we've already started engaging our elected official, specifically out of Ward 6. We'll do the same with Ward 2 to kind of see if they have anybody that they would like to suggest. And like I said, we're in constant communication right now with the respective neighborhood associations over there as well.
I don't think that, I mean, Ed Carruthers part, I think if we would have had that as an option, it would have probably been the option we would have chosen anyway, but I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just the process, I think, just sends a bad message sometimes.
Understood. So I have Commissioner Diaz and Commissioner Torres as our ad hoc. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Manager Pagano. I would also like to be included as
course.
a part of the ad hoc. I haven't been a part of the ad hoc, but I do understand concerns in terms of, I think as a commission, we do have a say in terms of, what kind of gets said. And so at the end of the day, it is the council's choice. And so, but at least we can express our interest in terms of what we would like the name to be called.
Absolutely. And I'll add your name as well, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Commission, just for clarification, it sits in Ward 6 and it borders Ward 2, the proposed park on
Great.
Starner McFadden.
Thank you so much. To clarify, we actually have 8 items tonight, not 4. And next on the item is item 4, and I will turn this over to our Community Services Manager, Tim Pagano, for our supervisor presentation.
I should have just stayed up here. Thank you very much, Chairperson. It's my pleasure to introduce our athletic supervisor, America Robledo. This is part and parcel of what I shared with you during our last commission meeting. Is I wanted to provide the opportunity for our supervisors overseeing our respective sections to provide an update as far as what is going on in their respective sections, the great work that they're doing for the community, and just to kind of highlight all the effort that they're making. So with that, I'll kind of step out of the way, and I'd like to bring up our Recreation Community Services Supervisor, America Robledo.
Good evening. Thank you, Commission. Want to just present on our athletics program. We are currently offering a youth and adult sports component. The adult sport component was brought into play in 2023, so at the beginning of this year. So we're excited for all the changes that are coming to the athletics division. I'm just going to provide you with a brief summary of all the sports that we offer, both for youth and adult, and the future plans that we have in place as we move forward. We currently offer a youth boys basketball program that's offered for young men, young boys ages 3 to 8th grade. We are part of SMAF, so we don't base it necessarily on an age number. We cut it off at the 8th grade level because that's SMAF rules. We currently average over 450 participants. Pre-COVID, we were over 500. Post-COVID, we're down to about 450, but our numbers have grown over the last 2 seasons. We average nearly almost 100 volunteers, usually just over 90. All of them are donating several hundred hours during the season. So we're getting a lot of volunteer services from the community. We are partners with the Junior NBA, Los Angeles Clippers. We offer, our fees include full uniforms, reversible jerseys, shorts, the works. We run out of 3 facilities, which is Jerome Center, Salgado Center, and we also take advantage of our joint use agreement with Godinez High School, and we run some of our games out of that facility as well. We are one of the only, we actually are the only program in Orange County that runs an all-girls program that's recreation-based. Most other local cities offer a co-ed program. We're fortunate enough that we have enough participants that we separated our 2 entities and created its own independent season. So our girls are averaging about 300 girls per season. We have about 45 volunteers annually. We have a great partnership with the Los Angeles Sparks. They allow us the use of formerly Staples Center, now Crypto Arena. We actually get to host our all-star games on their court. So it's a great experience for our kids. It's a great experience for their families. We get to watch a game for free. It's just an overall great experience for our community. Same as the boys, we offer the facility. We use the facilities at Jerome, Salgado, and Godinez High School. Just until this year, we've always ran a co-ed rookie baseball program, which was recreation-based. This year, with the expansion, with our goals to expand all of our programming, we've decided to separate it, and we're actually going to offer a girls softball program. So although rookie ball was formerly co-ed, we're hoping that we can separate the 2, and we'll run a boys program out of Jerome Park, running the same system that we ran in the past, hoping to get similar numbers. We average about 220 kids per season, which is a really high number for a recreation little league. We get about 30 volunteers. We do field trips. We go to an Angels game. give the kids an opportunity to experience, what the major leagues are all about. We run the program out of Jerome Park using fields 1 through 4 there. With the expansion of our softball program, we're going to be looking to run the program out of the same space, separating it again. We hope to hit our target of at least 4 teams per division, just to kind of get the league going. Once we grow the program, we're looking to expand and go out to different facilities, maybe the Centennial Park, but just take advantage of the facilities that we have nearby. So we are looking to expand the girls program coming in 2023. So we'll be running the season during the same time as we run our recreation baseball program. Next, we have our flag football program. That is a co-ed program and has been for several years now. We do get a good amount of girls that go out there. It's not a high number, so we're also actually going to be expanding a season during the same time as the flag football program in hopes of offering young ladies an opportunity to stay active year round. Our co-ed flag football program averages about 220 participants a season. We average about 30 volunteers. We use natural fields and turf fields. We use parks like Jerome Park, Centennial Park. We use the stadium. We use the complex. One of our fields currently is already lined for football. With a new renovation project that's taking place, Field 3 will also be lined with football lines. So we'll be able to use fields 2 and 3 in the come this July when the renovation project ends. From time to time, we also use Willard, which is also lined for football. As mentioned just a couple of seconds ago, we are going to be expanding our girls program. So we are going to be bringing in volleyball in hopes that we can get young ladies again to stay active year round. We think that that's a good opportunity for our young ladies to get into the gym, stay physical, and introduce them to a fun sport. Since it's a sport that we're going to also be offering for our adults program, we thought it was a great opportunity to bring it in and introduce it to the young ladies. We're going to try to run the program out of Jerome Center. Our youth sports register year round. Most of them are in person, but we do have online registrations coming in the very near future. This is just a screenshot of when we offer them. Most of our seasons are 10 weeks long. We guarantee them 8 games and a playoff. So as you can see, we run seasons from January through December, about three months per season, and we'll be offering multiple seasons with rookie baseball and softball running simultaneously and flag football and volleyball running at the same time. Our current price is $40, which is amazing. It's the cheapest price in Orange County. The price includes a participation award as well as a uniform that they get to keep. Some of the opportunities that we present to our youth are excursions. We generally will get out to a Clippers game due to our partnership. We're able to take about 50 participants to a Clippers game for free. They get access to the court. They get to watch both teams warm up from the sideline. So it's a really good opportunity for them to kind of get exposed to the NBA talent that's out there. As mentioned earlier, we have a partnership with the Sparks. With that partnership, every registered participant gets a free ticket to a Sparks game and their parents get to attend at a discounted rate. With that partnership as well, we also get access, like I said, to the court. So during our All-Star activities, we actually hold them at the Staples Center or Crypto now, and the girls get to actually play on the court. So we'll provide the officials and the girls get to have their All-Star activities on the actual court. Excuse me. One of the excursions we also take on is the Angels field trip. So we'll go watch great players like Trout and Ohtani, which we all know and love as Angel players. We also will visit collegiate games when we can. We'll visit USC, UCLA, the Rams, sometimes the Chargers. It just really depends on what we have access to, but we do try to expose all of our young athletes to the future of what can happen if you just stick with school, continue to play hard. We're just trying to expose them to what comes after recreation ball. We also partner with some of the local professional organizations to offer different opportunities. So we have made a commitment to be part of the skills contests that are offered by the NBA. So we will be a host site where we open up our facilities to not just Santa Ana residents, but local residents that can compete in these contests that generally involve opportunities to move forward towards regional championships and then sometimes even going as far as getting trips out of state. So we just become host sites. We open them up to our participants, the community, and the kids get to engage in something new, competitive, that's fun. And it's always free, which is the best part. They can participate and it doesn't cost them anything. With Major League Baseball, we always hold the pitch hit and run and the home run derby. That again gives an opportunity for baseball players to come out and show what they have. Instead of a team setting, it's a very individual setting, but it gives them an opportunity to kind of show off their personal skill sets. We still run the NFL punt, pass, and kick competition. Unfortunately, the NFL decided to no longer sponsor it, but it's a value that we appreciate. And so we still encourage our kids to come out when we have extracurriculars. It's one of the contests that we offer internally, and then we just award them prizes from within our own agency. Like I said, these contests are cool because they give an opportunity for our youth to participate in something different. And the thing that we really appreciate about it is that they're always free. It's not an added cost to any of the parents, and that's a really good opportunity. In 2016, one of our participants actually went all the way to the All-Star game and received really cool prizes, a good experience. He was part of Pony Baseball, and he came out and competed in our contest and moved all the way to the All-Star game. So those are the kinds of experiences that these competitions offer. We promote our youth sports program using all kinds of, different opportunities, brochures. Similar now, we have the Cultura. We make sure that it's in there. We do social media marquees throughout the city, website, press releases, flyers to school districts. Just kind of take advantage of all the local resources, and we try to promote our programming through every component. Youth sports is part of youth sports has several memberships. We are members of the Southern California Municipal Athletic Federation, which is SMAF. We are members of the Junior NBA. We are members of the Sparks Championship Club. We are part of the Clippers Player Zone program. And we also use Quick Scores to help us with standings and just giving our participants an opportunity to see their standings, their schedules, their practice schedules, all the day-to-day information that they may need. Next up, I'm just going to give you a little summary of our new adult programming that again began in 2023. Earlier in the year, we offered some soccer, which was 3v3, where we're going to be using our Delhi mini pitch. We hope that in 2024, we're able to offer a 5v5 and a 7v7 component with the expansion of the renovation of the facilities at Santa Anita Park, as well as Danyang Soccer Complex. Will be adding some 7v7 facilities, which will give us an opportunity to run some programming out of there. And then as well as the Campesino Park receiving that new mini pitch, we'll be able to take advantage and run some programming out of there as well. In the remaining of 2023, what we're hoping to offer is softball, kickball, basketball, flag football, and volleyball. All of these programs are either going to be co-ed based or we'll have a separate women's and men's league, depending on the sport. For the 5v5, we're going to be offering a men's and women's division. Everyone has to be 18 years or older to play. The roster sizes will vary, but it'll be between 10 and 14 players. Most of our games are going to be taking place at Delhi or Campesino. And again, once Santa Anita is ready, we'll move some activity there, as well as the Danyang Soccer Complex. All of our programming is going to run 8-game seasons with a single elimination playoff, and we'll be awarding a championship award for the winning team. Seasons are going to be projected January through March for soccer. We're going to be offering co-ed softball next year. That's going to be a single division, just co-ed, 18 years or older, 15-player rosters. We're going to run the league out of Jerome Park. We're going to offer them 8 games per season with a single elimination playoff. And again, the winners will get a championship award. That season is projected to run January through March. Currently, we're going to be starting kickball. It actually starts next week. I believe Chairman Herrera is going to be out there with us. So excited to see him out there. That's going to be a co-ed division, 18 years or older, 15-player rosters. Games are going to take place at Jerome. We're going to be doing an 8-game season, single elimination playoff. The winners will get an award. And the season, like I said, will run March through May. Hiram, if you want to show, just put a little video on the presentation that indicates some of the promotion that took place. We're happy to announce that our inauguration season has 8 teams participating. So we'll have 8 groups out there competing starting Wednesday.
These videos are very fun to watch.
Yeah, we're really excited. Our team did a really good job. Corey did a really good job putting this together for us. And we had a lot of great feedback online and we're excited. And the fact that we were able to get 8 teams out there the very first season is just indicative of the work that they've put in. So we're excited to be bringing kickball to Santa Ana. Next, we have basketball. We're going to be offering 2 divisions. We're going to offer a men's and a women's division, 18 years or older, 10-player rosters. Games are going to take place at Godinez High School, which has 3 courts that we can use at one time. So we're going to be running multiple games per night. We're going to offer 8-game seasons, single elimination playoff. We're going to offer championship awards, and the season's projected to run June through August. We're also going to be offering flag football for our adults. I think it's something that's super popular with our youth, and we were excited to be able to bring that for some of our adults that are interested in participating. We're going to be running 7 versus 7 co-ed divisions. So we're not going to go 8v8. We're just going to go 7v7. 18 years or older, 12-player rosters. We're going to be using several of our facilities, hoping to be able to use the stadium and the soccer complex since they're all lined up for football. We're going to offer the same concept, 8-game seasons, single elimination playoff, championship award, and then the season is expected to run September through November. And then lastly, we have co-ed volleyball that will be running same time as flag football. For those that don't want to play flag football, we're going to be offering 6v6 co-ed, 18 years or over, 12-player rosters. Games are going to be at Jerome, and 8-game seasons, single elimination game playoff, and championship award, with that season running simultaneously with our flag football program. So that's a brief snapshot of what we have to offer with athletics. Again, we're excited. Not only are we expanding to adults, which is something that I personally have been pushing for quite a while, but we have leadership now that sees the value in that and adding that component for our community. So we're excited to bring that, as well as expand what we've already done with youth, and hope to grow that across the board. So thank you guys for your time. Any
Great.
questions?
You mentioned supervisor, for your name.
Mine?
Yeah,
America Robledo?
America. Thank
Yes.
you so much, supervisor.
Of course.
Do we have any comments from the commission, Commissioner Nelson?
Yeah, I am quite impressed with especially the adult stuff. I think you're right. That's
Yeah.
long overdue to try and get us out there and get some exercise. I look forward to participating in some way, although I don't want to hurt myself. But just a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
The basketball for both boys and girls has been, you're right, is done very well.
Mhm.
And being in Orange County for quite a long time in the youth sports stuff, with 2 boys, it's not easy to run a program like that. And I've been part of some other cities that have NJB and stuff like that. Good work. That's
Thank
really
you.
what we need. And you're doing great there. My only question, skills contest.
Yes.
Did you give us the dates of when those would be?
They vary. It's hard to pinpoint a date. We do have a competition that's actually going to be taking place this Saturday. So for the skills challenge for the NBA, it all depends on when they want to finish and what the award is. So if they want people to go to the NBA draft, it has to be completed between a certain time frame. So it's hard to commit to an annual consistent date. So it's kind of like they'll send out the flyer saying, do you want to participate? Do you want to host? You have to complete it between February and end of March or end of April. So then we pick a date that kind of works for us and our community, and then we make that public to the community. We not only invite our current registered participants, but we do 2 sets of competitions. So we do one that's internal for our participants only. We run that during our All-Star activity weekend. That just kind of gives us some control, and its focus is solely on our current participants. Then we do one that's public, And we promote that to all the Orange County cities. And then we put that on social media. We make it public so that anybody, it doesn't have to be a Santa Ana resident. It could be anybody from a local community can come in to compete. And the reason we do that is because the competition is open across the US. So we're not going to limit it to Santa Ana residents when anybody can compete, hopefully be successful and move on. Because at the end of the day, they're going to say they came from Santa Ana. They're not going to say they came from, it's going to focus and they're going to promote that they came out of Santa Ana competition.
Right. I guess my only thought there would be that if, as long as we can kind of, I've actually had the pleasure of working with you on the
Yes.
MLB. What is it called?
Pitch, hit and run and the
Yeah,
home
there
run
we go.
derby.
And I think if we can do it around baseball season, it creates more, obviously
Yeah.
participants and Xander Bretza was the one that
Yes.
went under and he is now playing baseball at UNLV,
Yeah,
so-
he's a great athlete. He had
Yeah.
a really nice run.
Yeah, that was that, but that all started he wasn't going to do it. He just decided, oh, well, it was perfect
Right.
timing. So appreciate that. But one more quick question. So I love the adults soccer, the 5v5 and 7v7.
Mhm.
I see kind of an open spot, and I think I brought it up at the last couple of meetings regarding futsal and different things for youth. I really think that's something that as a Parks and Rec department, that we should be able to try and get after because it's huge, and the amount of soccer that's played in Santa Ana, and we don't have anything that's small pitch stuff where the kids can 5v5. You get 10 people out on a small little area that to be able to have and you can play at all ages. It doesn't
Right.
So it's whether it's open night or like we do at Willard, or if it's a full on league, there's nothing like that really in Orange. Anaheim's doing something. They have some facilities for futsal. So something I'll bring up later regarding the lining of courts and stuff like that. I think we should be looking at that down the road.
Yeah, there's talk about that. Obviously, with the amount of soccer programs that are available, we want to be mindful of that as well, because that would have an impact on them. Our prices are really low because we are recreation. So with the addition of Campesino, the mini pitch at Campesino, now that we have Delhi and the 2 7v7s, it is conversations that we've had with Director Hawk and my manager, Tim Pagano. So it's something that we're looking into, haven't made a full on commitment yet, but we are aware that it's something that we probably need to, focus on and make a decision as to how we're going to proceed with that, because soccer is huge in Santa Ana. And at some point, recreation is probably going to have to get involved again.
Okay, fantastic. That's all.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Nelson. Any other commissioner comments on this presentation?
Thank you.
Is there a chance in having more scholarships available, or having the price? I did see that they are pretty affordable, but for a family that has that's bigger family, is there a chance for it to be sliding scale?
We actually do offer scholarships. So it's something that's promoted on our registration applications and our flyers. We always advertise that we do have scholarships. So that is part of our packet. We don't turn anyone away. We have a scholarship process. And if somebody asks for a scholarship, more than likely they're going to get it. And that's something that's available to the entire community as long as they're Santa Ana residents.
Great. Supervisor, this is, I've been having a fun time with kickball. And I think the social media around it, I think, has been very successful in terms of folks just wanting to think it's like, wow, this is fun. It got me to kind of go out there just to kind of, I guess, be watching and seeing like how the department's doing. But I know that many other folks that are part of the community are out there and are excited to play.
Yeah,
And
we're
so-
excited to have them out there. Us ourselves will be out there. So keep an eye out for the Juanes and Juanas.
I know a friendly competition folks are already doing there, and I'm not much of a runner, but I do know how to kick. And so
Is there a commissioner's team going to happen?
I think signups are due Friday, I believe.
Yes,
And
yes.
so-
Corey, if you want to add Mr. Nelson, if you want to add a team, please. We'll extend the deadline for you.
Next year.
All
We
right,
gotta
fair enough.
Get in shape first.
I do also, I do thank you for considering co-ed.
course.
I know, also women's and teams as well. And kind of just having that mix in terms of, the LGBTQ community can just feel comfortable joining each team or whatever team. And if it's co-ed, it's kind of like, hey, it's all of us are out there.
Of course.
So I do want to share that. And I do agree with Commissioner Zacarias Torres around costs. I think that trying to, at least for the registration, it was $600 and it came down to 40, you know, but I know folks were saying like, well, you know, over here, they're charging this much for this. And so I'm like, okay, you know, I think this is a great start.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we can kind of work our way towards, if we do have additional funding that we can request to be able to lower that cost or, you know, or maybe include more in what's being offered, maybe like ball rentals that folks can kind of check out or, you know, I think that helps to kind of get folks to, as adults, you know, we're working adults. And so I think that's like, hey, but I know that there's also folks that may not be able to afford it. So to the
Absolutely,
extent that we
those-
can lower costs or offer scholarships, I think that's great.
Thank you for those recommendations. We'll go back to the table with those. Just as a point of reference, we do include our officials fees. So I know other leagues charge a little bit less, but then they have to pay the day of. So
I see.
our fee is all inclusive. So once somebody registers, there's no additional cost at any point. So we're going to have certified officials for our basketball league. I actually have division officials coming in that referee in the NCAA. So all of the officials that we're providing are certified and trained. We're trying to offer the best, you know, program with the best services out there. So that is part of the package. There will never be an additional fee for any team that registers.
All in all, y'all are doing amazing.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
One quick question. The co-ed flag football is September through November. Is it like a certain day of the week or is it the weekend or is it?
Most of our leagues are running either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Once we get closer to that, we probably will realistically stick to between Tuesday and Wednesday. That's high school football as well. So we want to be respectful of the fact that they play there at the stadium on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So realistically, we're probably going to run it Tuesday or Wednesday.
That was my exact thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stadium's probably going to be busy.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next on our agenda is item 5. I'll now turn this over to our manager, Tim Pagano.
Thank you again. A few announcements for the commission. We have a lot of exciting ceremonies that are going to be coming up relatively soon, and I just wanted to bring them to your attention. The first one is going to be taking place over at Portola Park, which is Ward 3. We've been working with a nonprofit organization called Project Backboard, and what their area of specialty is to bring in aesthetically pleasing basketball court overlays. So very similar to the El Salvador basketball courts, we are now going to be having an overlay that we're going to keep a surprise for right now, but it will be unveiled on April 4th. Time to be determined. We're still working out those details. But the reason that we're able to bring it is because BJ's Restaurant, which actually started in Santa Ana back in the 70s, was looking for a place to put this basketball overlay. And we've been in discussion with Project Backboard to have them come and do one of our courts. They paired us up together and we had a very short timeline to turn around an agreement. And we were able to do it. Thanks very much to our administration staff in Parks and Recreation. And so we are in the process. They just started fencing the Portola basketball court today. And they're going to be doing the design and all that great stuff over the next couple of weeks. And then on the 4th of April, we're going to have a big unveiling ceremony. So I'd like to invite everybody here out there and the public as well. The next one, I think we've mentioned it a few times, and I think America even mentioned it too, but the Cesar Chavez Campesino Lays replay pitch. There was some earth moving going on today, probably the first somewhat dry day that we've had in the last couple of weeks. But this is a really exciting install that we've been working on since right around September of 2021. It's really exciting because we're going to be one of 9 global replay mini pitches throughout the globe. You know, with Turin, Italy. There's a pitch in Brazil. There's a pitch in South Africa. We're the first one in North America. So it's really exciting. And the great part about it is we've been working with Lay's and PepsiCo as far as what the actual event is going to be. And it's going to be something special. So I'll leave it at that. But again, we will be facilitating invitations to all of our commissioners here. Hopefully you can make it. That is going to be on, I believe, Wednesday, April 19th, roughly around 4:30 to 8:30. Obviously, the whole event's not going to take place for that duration, but it's going to be that general time. So we're hoping that you will find that invitation soon once we nail down all the dates and you'll be able to make it out there. In addition, and I know Susie may talk about this a little bit later, but we've been working with Jay Tittle and Associates for the development of the Santa Anita Community Center. We've been working on the park with regards to the field and the turf and the basketball court that's going on over there. But amongst our, as we were doing all of that, we were given a really great opportunity with ARPA funding to take a look at the community center over there. And we have a really great design. I think we got maybe one more time that we're going to touch base with our architects and everything, and we'll receive concepts. And at that point, that's when we'll go into a groundbreaking ceremony, and we're targeting that probably towards the end of April, beginning of May. So again, we will give you that information once we receive it so that we can have you out there so that you could be a part of the groundbreaking ceremony. Lastly, the Ed Carruthers Park, we referenced that earlier. That is in near completion. So I think we're targeting probably let's see, I have end of May here as a ribbon cutting ceremony. Now that may change based on the weather that we've been experiencing, but we're feeling pretty comfortable that end of May will be when we'll be doing the ribbon cutting ceremony. So again, invitation coming your way, but some really exciting stuff that's happening for our parks and our park spaces. So just wanted to give you that update and just mark those dates on your calendar so that we can have a good time unveiling these things, ribbon cutting and groundbreaking. And if I can answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Manager Pagano. Do we have any questions from the commission or comments?
The Portola Park basketball court, you said BJ's?
BJ's Restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that was Santa Ana.
Yeah, that was something that we discovered. Interestingly enough, when they first approached Project Backboard, they were targeting court in Virginia, and it's all tied to the Final Four, right? So I'm assuming that the Final Four is probably being played over on the East Coast somewhere. But Project Backboard said, you know what, can't do it. Timelines don't match up. And they offered Santa Ana because we've been developing that relationship with them for some time. We were even targeting Angels Park, Cesar Chavez Campesino, and Project Backboard is all based on funding, right? They're a nonprofit. So once they get the funding, then they can introduce the design and everything. Well, they mentioned Santa Ana today. BJ's went ecstatic because they're like, we started, I think it was on, correct me if I'm wrong, it was on 4th Street in Santa Ana that they started. Yeah, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, so BJ's was, and I have it right here. They were founded in 1978 and first opened in Santa Ana, California
Right.
as BJ's Chicago Pizzeria
Yeah.
in downtown Santa Ana.
So the stars aligned, and I mean, again, Santa Ana was a perfect discussion point for BJ's, and Project Backboard has been trying to work in Orange County now for a really long time. A majority of their work is done in LA County and throughout the East Coast, but this will be the first Orange County court that they're actually going to be working on too. So really exciting stuff.
Great, thank you so much.
Of course.
And yes, Manager Pagano, if you can please send us those dates, and shout out to BJ's for their donation for the park. I think this is on Ward 3, and I know Ward 3 residents are going to be very excited about.
I have a
the new
question.
basketball court. Yes, Commissioner.
Are we working with local artists in any of the art for any of these projects?
I think in the future, that's been the discussion for Project Backboard and myself before the BJ's connection came into play. I think Project Backboard is utilizing an in-house artist because of the expedience of this particular project. This was brought to us, I think, at the end of February. And so, like I said, we've been working really hard to turn around that agreement in a very short period of time. So I think just because of the timeline, they went with somebody in-house, but we've already started discussions about Santa Anita, once that park is delivered to us, trying to come up with an aesthetically pleasing basketball court overlay and all the other courts that we go to resurface, having that discussion. So I think that's a great idea.
Perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for that comment, Commissioner Zacarias Torres. I think it's great to highlight local artists in the parks that we have where their art may be placed. Great. I think our next agenda item is item 5. I'll turn this over to our parks planner, Susie Virginek, for our parks master plan presentation. I've been asking Susie and working with her to develop monthly presentations for the commission around our parks master plan. It's a very dense document, and it's a living document. And so for us to kind of go through the Parks Master Plan individually, one by one. We do have Earth Day next month, and so I think it's timely to talk about environmental justice issues, and it's what I've asked Susie to present for us. Executive Director, you have a comment?
Yes, I have a comment. I wanted to say, if you guys look over there at Mr. Hiram Uribe over there, he actually designed the court out there at El Salvador. If you guys have had to seen it. So we have an artist right there in front of us, and I just want to give him a shout out. It looks fantastic if you guys haven't seen it.
Great, thank you.
Hello, good evening, commissioners. It's really nice to be here this evening. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about environmental justice. It's a very big, broad topic. There's a lot to it. I've tried to keep this presentation as short, as concise as possible. It's just kind of glossing over all the highlights of it. But it is a very in-depth concept, and a very important one as well. So what is environmental justice? Well, environmental justice is a movement started by individuals who sought to address the inequity of environmental protections in the community. Disadvantaged environmental justice communities are communities that are most impacted by environmental harms such as air, water, soil pollution, and socioeconomic issues. One example would be neighborhoods that are located near freeways, major roads, and/or industrial uses. The environmental justice is a movement that seeks to acknowledge these inequities and correct them. In 2016, the state of California passed Senate Bill 1000, called the Planning for Healthy Communities Act. And this legislation states that environmental justice policies must be included in every city's general plan. This requires cities to update their policies for disadvantaged communities in order to reduce health risks, promote engagement in the public decision-making process, and to prioritize improvements and programs within these communities. So environmental justice communities are determined using a mapping tool called a CalEnviroscreen that the California Environmental Protection Agency designed. It evaluates all census tracts in California, and it measures 20 key indicators. The indicators are grouped in two major categories: pollution burden and population characteristics. The pollution burden has to do with exposures and environmental effects. Population characteristics has to do with sensitive populations and socioeconomic factors. Exposures include ozone, diesel particulate matter, toxic releases from industrial areas, pesticide use, traffic, and exhaust, drinking water contaminants, and PM 2.5. Environmental effects are the effects of facilities such as solid waste sites, cleanup sites, groundwater threats, impaired water bodies, and hazardous waste facilities. Sensitive populations include those with asthma, cardiovascular disease, and low birth weight infants. Socioeconomic factors include educational attainment, low-income households that have a housing burden, linguistic isolation, poverty, unemployment. So the metrics per the screen. This is what it looks like in Santa Ana. This is where our environmental justice communities are in Santa Ana. And of those 20 indicators that I just outlined, there are 11 that are priorities that we need to address in our community. Diesel emissions, air quality, groundwater contamination, cleanup sites, the housing burden, linguistic isolation, low birth weight in infants, solid waste sites, poverty and education. Part of the process that the planning department went through to update the general plan and its elements involved a pretty extensive community outreach effort. It was, it took more than a year. There was a survey conducted in the spring of 2021. The planning department went out to all the communities, and the input that they collected was entered into a database that synthesized it and then produced what's called a word cloud that visually shows emerging themes, which are key concepts that the community is concerned about. So things that came to the forefront through the community outreach effort included the call for more open space, the call for more public parks, the call for more community centers, parks and community centers within walking distance. We all know this. I don't think we needed a Cal Enviro to tell us that we need these things. So what this all led to was 6 key policies to be included in the updated general plan. And they are focused on air pollution, improving public facilities, promoting healthy food, safe and sanitary housing, increasing physical activities, and enhancing civic engagement. Increasing physical activities, this was a policy that ultimately led to an implementation action in the open space element to create the Parks Master Plan. If you can go back one more, go back. Sorry, thank you. Just a few other points. As I mentioned, this is a really broad, deep topic, and there is a lot involved in addressing all of these risk factors. I just want to point out that there are 77 implementation actions that are included in the general plan to do that. And these 77 actions span 9 of the elements. And 9 of those actions are in the open space element. Okay. So steps forward. What have we been up to? What are the steps that we're taking? Well, we developed and adopted our Parks Master Plan, which is a document that strives to look at a 10-year plan to do a lot. The empowerment, environmental justice metrics were used in the development of the Parks Master Plan to determine where those park gap areas are. I believe there's 43 of them. And a number of those, I believe I think there are 5 of them that are considered high areas of need. They hit on 5 of the key criteria that was one of the environmental justice focuses. A few things here. There was an action in a couple of actions in the open space element of the general plan. It's also incorporated in the Parks Master Plan. One was to create an interagency open space forum to have regular discussions about how are we going to solve this the shortage that we have? How are we going to close that gap? We're at 1.1 acres per 1,000. And now in our general plan, in our open space element, in our Parks Master Plan, we're calling for 3 acres per 1,000. It's what our community needs. How are we going to get there? So one of the first steps was the creation of this interagency open space forum, which includes representatives, executive directors from Parks and Recreation, Public Works, Community Development, the Planning Department. It's getting our city engineer. It's getting us talking on a regular basis, getting us putting our heads together to see how we can creatively come up with some solutions. And so far, it's resulted in 2 new parks, 10th and Flower, and First and Mountain View, which will be a 5-acre addition to our park system. So those are 2 really exciting outcomes that have happened so far. We're also acquiring properties along Bristol. We're looking to create a Bristol recreation corridor. Hoping to do something similar along Warner Avenue, where we're picking up remnant parcels from street widenings and putting our creative minds to work to see how we can create linear parks that include recreation. Already happening, as we know, Standard and McFadden Park is going to be advertised within the next month. We should break ground on that project before the end of the year. Right in Myrtle Street Park, Ed Carruthers Park, is underway, and we're looking to have that open for the summer. And just wanted to highlight a few of our big park redevelopment projects that are happening and about to happen. As you all know, Santa Anita Park, we're doing an extensive $11 million improvements there. We're essentially redeveloping the entire park. And as part of that, we have demolished and are going to rebuild the community center. That is underway. That is happening. It's real. And it's very exciting. We're planning to do the same at Memorial Park. We're going to release an RFP, a request for proposals, next week to bring on a consultant to do a master plan of the east side of the park, from the ball field fence to Flower Street, to revisit the whole site. We want to rebuild the pool. We want to rebuild the aquatics facility. We want to revisit all the amenities that are on the park and see if there's a better way of laying things out so that we can do more. And Logan Park Community Center, we are setting out to do the same. And the design for both of these endeavors are funded. So we are kicking off and getting started. There's still so much to do beyond this, but there are some really important big steps that we've taken so far, and it's pretty exciting. So here's a few resources. The first one, we have a wonderful neighborhood initiatives and environmental services department within our planning and building an agency. You probably all know Margarita Macedonia, and she oversees that, and the neighborhood initiatives and environmental services division functions to promote community solutions, capacity building, and civic engagement in addressing environmental justice challenges within the city as identified in the general plan. And I have a website address there if you want to. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of really great information. I could never capture it in a PowerPoint. So I encourage you to have a look. And also the planning department has a wonderful on their website, they have some wonderful information as it relates to environmental justice, the process. And they have a nice overview of what environmental justice is. They have an overview of the process that they went through for community engagement, and information about all the implementation actions that resulted that were incorporated into the general plan. So with that, that concludes my presentation. Thank you. And if you have questions, I am here to answer.
Any questions from the commission? Commissioner Nelson?
So going from 1 acre, give or take, to 3 acres is going to be a pretty large task, right?
It's huge. It's monumental.
So I think Mr. Timpagano's mentioned in the past that there was some talks with Santa Ana Unified on how to joint use. And I mean, I think that's really the only way we're going to be able to achieve that, as a whole. But what's the process of, like, so for 10th and Flower and getting new parks? I mean, I know that was kind of a neighborhood of somebody's private property. Are we going out and actively seeking and purchasing them as the city? Or is that-
10th and Flower?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it started out as 6 properties. And long and short of it is we purchased those. And then there was an opportunity to pick up a 7th and then an 8th. And we were hoping to pick up a 9th so that we could have just over a full acre. So we're looking to pick up that 9th parcel, but for right now we have secured 8, which would include absorbing part of Garnsey Avenue. So it's a really nice site. I've already gone to Willard neighborhood seeking input from them. We are reviewing proposals tomorrow from 15 landscape architects that want to contract with us to design it. We're going to pick one and bring it to council for award May 2nd, and then we're going to kick off the process.
Yeah, it already looks 100% better than it ever has with just putting some bark on it and making.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
mentioning that, because I wanted to bring that up and I almost forgot. Yes, we're taking a new kind of approach rather than let sites sit there vacant and kind of ugly. Let's make them nice. Let's use them. Let's activate them in the interim while we're doing all this planning and going through plan check and bidding and all of that. Let's dress it up. Let's get excited about it and let's activate it in the interim. And so 10th and Flower is our first shot at doing that.
Well, I mean, not only does it looks better, but you're also utilizing it. I know West Coast Arborist is using it for putting some of their logs and things, and I'm assuming they help with the bark. I mean, so it's actually helping operate the city as well while it's just sitting there. Yeah. So
Absolutely. And all the bark we got free from Republic,
nice.
our waste contractor. So yeah, we did it. This is kind of on a shoestring.
As a community member, is there any input that we can, like, if we see some property that's available, that we could recommend to the city, or I mean, how does that process work? I know you guys are internally talking about it, but how do we engage as a community with that process?
Well, we've been actively going out into the community, soliciting input. Let me use Washington Square as an example. We met with, I don't think it was a general meeting, but we met with representatives of the Washington Square community. They had concerns about 10th and Flower Park. And so they asked us to come talk to them to, alleviate those concerns. They were worried about, loitering and litter, and what are we going to do to keep the park from being a nuisance while we're planning? So we went to speak to them about that, and in discussions, it came up that there were vacant properties at the north end of Washington Square. How does this neighborhood feel about considering that for a public park. And that's step one. Do you want a public park? If the answer is yes, then okay, what do we do? Well, reach out to your city councilman, and, you know, reach out to our executive directors internally. We are inviting input, we're sharing it internally and encouraging neighborhoods to speak to their elected representatives to carry the message. So coming at it from all sides.
You hit on the exact, I mean, in my neighborhood, I see that piece of property at the end there that's never been used in 25 years. And now it, you know, it could either become housing or it could become a really nice neighborhood park, but you know, something has to happen. Otherwise it just sits there and becomes a nuisance, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So much, Commissioner. Any other comments on the presentation?
I just wanted to thank you for the presentation because as a social ecology major during my undergrad, I took an environmental studies class and I used Santa Ana for my GIS example of to compare how much open space we have, to compare how much open space we have compared to other cities. And I'm really glad that we are increasing that number. I see we have 3 out of 5 proposed parks. Are there plans for 2 more parks? Because there are 5 primary areas, and I think you mentioned 3 out of 5 parks.
There are 5 gap areas. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're actively looking
Okay.
to address either parks within those areas or connectivities from those areas to parks.
Perfect. And then I also wanted to mention high levels of lead that we have in Santa Ana. I know that's an environmental justice concern with the recent study coming out that there are a lot of areas in Santa Ana that have high lead levels. Is the city planning on addressing this as an environmental issue?
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, it absolutely is. Again, I encourage you to go to the planning department's website because there is in-depth information that can speak to that. But there are, like I said, 77 implementation actions. I know a number of them hit on that issue. And in fact, let me mention, I believe that the neighborhood initiatives and environmental services group is hosting a webinar next Tuesday, March 28th. It's learn about reducing lead exposure.
And is there a way that residents can become involved in some of the park planning? Because I work at a community center where we're near the Rayton Myrtle, and the youth program participants wanted to see how they could become involved in the planning process.
Yeah, absolutely. We try to attend every neighborhood meeting when we're planning a project, and we invite the community to come and participate. We also invite the community to, if there is an issue that they would like us to speak to, please reach out and ask that we be placed on agenda to come in and talk.
And there's also a plan of putting native plants in all of the proposed parks.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, commissioners. Susie, I want to thank you for putting on a great presentation. I think checking in with you, like, to kind of get these out, you're so smart and brilliant in terms of knowing the parks master plan like the back of your head. I think similarly, I do have concerns in relationship, to lead in our city. And, I know the researchers at UCI have been studying and have published, I think, several reports. And so I know, as you mentioned, Margarita with the Neighborhood Initiative Environmental Services Agency, I know that they're also putting out information to kind of learn more about, and also trying to apply to grants to kind of be able to do some sort of bioremediation and I think that it's important for us as a city to kind of acknowledge that we do have a history of lead in our city, and that, hey, we're working towards kind of remediating that in safe ways, because I think it does impact our parks and the city overall. I also want to remind the public that I know that the Neighborhood Initiatives and Environmental Services Agency is also doing a groundwater community outreach meeting in the Delhi neighborhood. Learn about the status of the Delhi groundwater cleanup and the safety of Santana's drinking water. Environmental Justice Coordinator Amanda will moderate a discussion with the agency's handling of the cleanup. And that will happen next Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the Delhi Center. So I do encourage folks to attend these meetings to really, let the city know, hey, these are environmental concerns that are happening within our city, and we care. And so I don't have any further comments on this presentation. Thank you so much, Susie.
Thank you all so much. And thank you so much for your comments and questions. They're really, really helpful.
Great. Next on the agenda, I have here. Next on the agenda is informational items. So no action is needed from the commission on these items. However, this is a time for city staff to provide a brief summary of their reports and for commissioners to ask questions. And so if we can have Director Sternberg to provide a library staff report.
Yes, thank you, members of the commission. The first item on my report tonight is that I'd like to invite you to join us for a grand opening of our Teen Time by the Santa Ana Public Library at the El Salvador Community Center. This will allow you to enjoy a preview of our new and exciting space for teens to connect, create, and learn. The event will feature games, refreshments, a STEAM petting zoo, and a special opportunity prize drawing. The opening of Teen Time will be celebrated in conjunction with the Spring Fest Open House featuring the Santa Ana Collaborative and Santa Ana Recreation classes. The grand opening is this Saturday, March 25th, 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. at the El Salvador Community Center. We will have a ribbon cutting that will begin at 10:30 a.m. So I invite you all, members of the commission, to please come out and join us and see the brand new space. It's going to be a really exciting new addition to the library services. Like I mentioned, it's going to be a place for teens to have a safe place to study, play games, recreate, and just learn. So we look forward to seeing you all there. Moving on to the next item, I'd like to promote our new California State Library Park Pass backpacks. So spring is here, and I'm not sure, but if you were not aware, California has the largest state park system in our nation. So you can bookmark a new adventure and explore the beautiful parks, lakes, and beaches that our state have to offer. The Santa Ana Public Library just received an additional 150 California State Library Park Passes, and you can check out a park pass today at either of our library locations. And that allows you to get a vehicle day use entry to over 200 participating state parks. In addition, you can also check out one of our special Park Pass backpacks that is full of supplies for you to use for your next adventure. So what do you get in one of these backpacks? Well, you'll get one California tree and wildflowers pocket guide. You'll get a set of binoculars. You'll get a compass. You'll get a clear pouch with park information for all the different parks that you can visit. You'll get a hand lens, which is kind of like a magnifying glass. Then you'll get your own luggage tag. So it's a neat opportunity to check something out that is a little bit different from our Library of Things collection. Our Library of Things has lots of different items in it, from electronics to telescopes to even things like cookie cutters and all sorts of different items. And we recently got roller skates. So it's a great collection of things to check out from the library. And this is one of our newest additions. The backpacks are limited right now. So we're working on, of course, getting more of these backpacks, but they're limited. I think we have about 15 of them at the library, but you can, of course, go online, you can reserve one. And when it's your turn, we'll send you a message. You can come on in and pick it up from our library. Then I'd like to let you know that we had a number of celebrations and programs in honor of Women's History Month. The Santa Ana Public Library is always pleased to celebrate women, past, present, and future, who have contributed to all of our forms of media and storytelling through exciting programs and events for the whole family to enjoy. Residents watched screenings of Mulan, enjoyed snacks and drinks. The community also attended a special author hour that featured Maria Amparo Escandon, who is a New York Times bestselling author, where she discussed womanhood, Latin American identity, and global warming with her latest novel, LA Weather. The library recently hosted a Frida Kahlo inspired self-portrait making program for kids and adults. This one was really great. They've been packed houses for our Frida Kahlo programs. The community came in, they were able to paint their own Frida Kahlo portraits, and everybody really enjoyed it. So it was a fabulous program. And that was held at the main library. And then, finally, I just want to mention all of our capital improvement projects that we have going on for the library. Of course, we have our refurbishment of our New Hope branch library located at First and New Hope here in Santa Ana. We're going to be doing a major refurbishment to that facility. We're going to be adding a new STEM lab with all types of technologies and computers in it. We're also going to be, replacing all the flooring, shelving, redoing all the restrooms, and really upgrading the facility all around it, and placing a new storefront on New Hope as well. And then, of course, at our main library, that is getting a historical renovation, kind of bringing back a lot of the original design intention. It's also going to get new spaces for teens, a maker lab, and a brand new local history room, all at our main library. So we are really excited for that one. Then we're doing a first ever outdoor public library at Jerome Park. So this, all I can say is imagine everything that you would have in your physical location of the public library here in Santa Ana, but outside for you to visit and check out books any time of the day, right at Jerome Park, right across from the senior center. It's going to feature a large kiosk with over 400 items, DVDs, movies, books, anything that you'd like to check out, you can check out right there with your library card. It'll be self-service. Then there will be places nearby to sit down, read a book, do your own little story time with your family or with children, or our library staff will be out there, from time to time doing our own programs right there in Jerome Park too. So again, it's another way to bring the library out from, behind our desks or, within our physical walls of our building, bring it out to the community where people live, work, and play. And then, of course, we have our upcoming new branch at the Delhi Center, so that we will be sharing the Delhi Center space. And we're going to it'll be a small branch, about 2,500 square feet, but we're also going to build out a outdoor patio area there where there will be, reading spaces and play areas for kids. So look for that one coming up as well. So the plan will be to open when we get ready to close the main library, we'll be opening the new Delhi Center branch and a brand new refurbished and renovated New Hope Library. So although the main library will have to close to get its major renovation, new services will be coming on board. And then finally, right along those lines too, we are going to be getting a brand new, much larger bookmobile that will have lots of different features on it, including a large screen TV on the outside to do movies, in front of the bookmobile, to play games, video games, check out books, whatever the kids might want to do. And this one will go around, visit, of course, all the parks, community centers, nonprofits, community organizations throughout Santa Ana. So we're really excited to be in design for that one as well. And that is all for my presentation. Of course, you can always go online. We regularly update our website with all of our newest programs, and you can see what's coming up for the second half of March here, the end of March here, and April as well. And please join us for all of our programs and services. Thank you so much. And I'm here for questions if you have any.
Thank you, Director Sternberg. Do we have any questions from the commission or comments? Commissioner Diaz?
My microphone was off. So besides going to the community budget meetings, does the city and requesting, for example, I would like to see more teen spaces throughout all community centers. And I would like to suggest that we have a library room at every community center. But is the city has any of those ideas at the moment?
Well, of course, we have our 2 teen times that we just opened up, which are kind of like teen spaces, really. We have of course, our teen space at our main library, and our teen time programs. Like I said, we have our grand opening for kind of the entire program, but the first 2 will be at El Salvador and the Garfield Community Center. The Garfield Community Center opened back in January, late January. So that one has been open. Right now we're promoting, trying to get more teens in at Garfield to participate. Then of course we have El Salvador. The grand opening is this Saturday, with Monday will be its first day, offering programs and services to the youth. So yeah, absolutely. We're always looking to expand our teen time programs, working here with the Parks and Recreation Community Services Agency to see how we can, increase library services and locations in the future. Hawk and I are always, strategizing on how we can do that and bringing those services to more community centers, more locations across the city. Yep, definitely a priority.
Commissioner Zacarías Torres.
Hi, good evening. I wanted to see if at the teen time centers, if there's any plans of being open late night. I had experienced it, but I've also heard it from other students that are going to school that might be limited to studying at home. It might be a little bit distracting if you're living with multiple families to have a place where you can dedicate to your studies. When I was a student, I used to go to the Lantern Grill because they were open really late, but that option is not available anymore. And I've heard from many students that there's no late night study place in the city. So would it be possible to look into opening some of our libraries or the teen study spaces late night so that students are able to study in a place that that's offered without distraction?
Yeah, so our new teen time locations are open, after school, and they are a great place to study. Our Garfield location will be open from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. and our El Salvador location will be open from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now, both our main library has hours every Monday through Thursday up until 8:00 p.m. And our New Hope branch library rotates between a 10 to 6 and 12 to 8 throughout the week, and then a 10 to 6 on Friday and Saturday.
What
So
about later than that? I used to be at Lantern Grill till like 1 a.m, but maybe like till 11. Anything after 11,
Yeah.
because there's some people that
So-
I worked part-time and then I was a full-time student. And after that, I would try to find somewhere where I could go after work to
Mhm.
study. And it's pretty limited here in the city.
Yeah. What we found actually when with libraries being open late hours, we didn't tend to get too many, because actually we've expanded the Santa Ana Public Library's hours overall by quite a bit, especially at New Hope. A few years ago, New Hope was only open 27 hours a week. Now they're open, they're open 48 hours a week. And, and our main library is, open Monday through Saturday. Like I was saying, till 8:00 p.m. Monday through Thursday. But what we found when the library, way back when the library was open till 9, is that after 8:00, we didn't actually see too many people in the building. We saw a lot of kids coming in after school, studying, and then they would typically start tapering off like late dinner time, 7:00. Most of the kids would then go home or go other places. So we didn't see too many, and we try to capitalize on those busiest hours when everybody wants to use the library, and, of course, using our limited resources and staffing that we have to really, be able to offer programs, services, safe spaces for kids to study, when the most people are in the building, so we can really get that, return on investment. But it's always something that we can look at in the future too, depending upon funding and staffing and what that looks like. So, but I do appreciate that feedback. That's good to know.
Thank you. And then, what about, is there an option to look into the Cypress Fire Station being used as a digital library? Because that's something that I've been getting asked about. And I just mentioned, I told them that I would bring it up so that people would know that there is an interest in that.
Yeah, sure. So, I think, based upon our last city council meeting, the Cypress Fire Station is currently, going out for design. Of course, I will accept and follow the direction of whatever our city council, asks us to do with that particular facility.
Okay. And are we also looking into, I know that we're already creating more libraries, but are we looking into creating more after the ones that we are looking into, like Delhi and having the teen time?
Of course.
'Cause I know we are in a library deficit here in Santa Ana compared
Yes,
to
of
other
course.
cities.
Absolutely. That's always the plan, to look to see how we can get our services out to the community, whether it's physical locations, more buildings. Absolutely. We want to do that. And, and then finding, I think, also unique ways to embed and take advantage of some of our existing spaces, like the El Salvador Community Center, the Garfield Community Center, the Delhi Community Center, and look to see how we can provide more services there. And then as well as in our parks, like Jerome Park. So we're always looking to do those things. Thank you so much. Any other questions I can answer?
I have some comments. If some of the other commissioners have comments or questions. Oh, okay. Director Sternberg, I think, as always, I did bring my library park pass. I went to go visit Doheny State Beach. It was amazing. I took some photos over there. You want to go down there. It's amazing beach. They have fire pits, and you can reserve areas for even drinking. I did not know that you can drink at the state beach, but you have to reserve the space. And spaces are limited, and it is costly. So, but you can visit the park for free. And there's so many other areas. I know our Poppy Seeds State Natural Reserve is also accessible with the state park pass. You can also visit our state historic Orange Grove in Riverside. And so please, I encourage you all. We have 150 new, I rechecked it out because we still had more. So I will continue to check this out if there's no wait list for it. I was also able to check out our binoculars. Woo! It was great because I went out to our wilderness club out to Bolsa Chica. And I didn't check these ones out, but I did check out the ones from the state library, really great backpacks. I checked it out for myself. And as I was walking, there was 3 youth that, their parents had sent the youth out to the Wilderness Club. And I realized that I was like, you know what, here, use mine. And they literally took the compass from me. They took the binoculars. They took the books that kind of outlined the different plants and animals. And I thought it was amazing. And they were, tasseling around the binoculars, and I was like, wait, those are very expensive binoculars, So I would suggest if maybe we can get some kid size or plastic binoculars or something that we can check out at our library of things that, I think if we're able to partner with the Wilderness Club and there's youth that kind of attend, I think those things are really, it was like life-changing for the youth to kind of just be there and use some of these things. And in the case that they do drop it, I don't want them dropping any one of our very expensive, things that we have within our library of things.
Absolutely, Commissioner. We can definitely look at getting some binoculars for the kids too. Will do.
Great. And You mentioned the Delhi opening. Do you have an anticipation of when that will be open?
So right now, tentatively, we're looking at summer of 24 for that, that building to open. It
Great.
could be as early as April, but you know, with construction, there's always, you know, things that come up and, you know, when you start opening up walls and stuff. So it could be as early as April, but we're anticipating summer and to be just in time for the closure of our main library for its historical renovation.
No, this would be great. And if you haven't gone through the design phase, I think a lot of the commission really enjoyed having to provide feedback on the new library.
Mhm.
You know, and so if you're able to, if there's still room to provide feedback in the design of this new library at Delhi,
Okay.
I think would be amazing for the commission to provide feedback. I also kind of sympathize with Commissioner Zacarias Torres in regards to being a college student, and I would go to Chapman University. They have I loved how you would go in, park, and just walk a couple of steps and there would be the library. And so, you know, to the extent that maybe I know for Parks and Recs, promotion of our kickball was very instrumental in, you know, eliciting support around the program. So to the extent that we maybe do like a survey or promote it as a college night, you know, for students, that to be like, hey, are you all interested in a college night for maybe a center here? Or, you know, I think that would get maybe folks to think about our community centers or libraries as kind of spaces that they can kind of, you know, go and use. And so like, what would be good hours for you to use? You know, it may not be till 1 a.m., you know, not as feasible, but to the extent that it's maybe like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. or what have you, I think if there's some sort of kind of survey, I think that would get us to better like understand if it's maybe a need, you know, that folks would kind of would come out to, and I think that, you know, if that's possible.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely look into that for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And I really appreciate that you were able to outline the adult services. I think it might have been the first time, and I really enjoy that even with our Parks and Recs programming, including adults. I know typically, you know, the programming has been for youth and teens, and but you know, I think adults really do enjoy these spaces. So I really commend you for including some of the programming for adults.
Thank you, sir.
And lastly, I know Pride is coming up, and so to the extent that maybe at our next agenda in April or May. For June, I think to kind of get folks, hey, you know, a month or 2 months from now, we're kind of thinking about this type of programming at our library. I think that would be great. But thank you so much, Director Sternberg.
Thank you. Thank you, members of the commission.
Okay, I think now we have Manager Fisher. I do not see them. Great. You have some reports, Executive Director, for the zoo?
The Parks and Facilities staff report first.
Okay, great. Yes. Oh, okay. Susie, could you give us a Parks and Facilities update?
I
please?
absolutely can. Be my pleasure. So we're having some, as I alluded to earlier, some pretty big discussions as they relate to park acquisitions, reexamining our residential development fees. We're planting seeds about a potential park bond. And of course, we are constantly looking for grant opportunities. We're gearing up to submit 2 to 3 grants between now and June. On the project side, we're very busy. We've got 22 projects either on the boards, advertised, or under construction. I want to highlight one of them that I haven't talked about. And it's a small park, but it's very, very important. And it touches on a lot of things that we were talking about earlier. The King Street Urban Greening Project. We talk about collaboratives and usually those are external. This is an example of a successful internal collaborative that we're doing with our NPDES division, which stands for a national, this is the division within Public Works, National Pollution Elimination Discharge System. This is the group that manages stormwater, capture, infiltration, filtration. There's a piece of property on King Street. King Street used to go north-south and merge into Fairview Avenue. But I guess when Fairview was realigned, it dead ended. So there was this little 9,000 square feet of no man's land, just abandoned street, doing nothing, a magnet for, litter, graffiti, whatnot. Well, it just so happens that it's in an area where there's significant stormwater flow. Perfect, and it has good infiltration properties. So it was an opportunity to create a site where we could capture stormwater and infiltrate and be a public park at the same time. So the NPDES agency applied for a state grant through a program called the Caltrans Clean California Local Grant Program. And they were successful in receiving a $1.5 million grant to develop this little tiny forgotten piece of land into a little pocket park for the Artesia Pilar community. And the other point about this project that I wanted to bring up was it has an art component. And we went through an RFP process to invite local artists to come in and either offer a mural or a freestanding sculpture component for this project. And we reviewed them and shortlisted them. We're going to the Artesia Pilar community meeting next Tuesday to present the shortlisted group of artists and hoping that they will help us make a selection so that we can incorporate it as part of this project. So it's a special little project. And it's pretty exciting. So, looking, Craig Foster is the NPDES manager within Public Works, and he's a pretty amazing guy. And we're doing a similar public park stormwater management type project at the Bristol and Tolliver site that we recently acquired along Bristol. So we're going to be trying to partner more and more in the future, and it's a win-win. We this past Tuesday night awarded 2 more construction contracts. One for new synthetic turf fields at Dan Young Soccer Complex. We're going to turn the 2 remaining natural fields into synthetic turf. And we also awarded a contract to provide a brand new heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system for Salgado Center and a new roof for Salgado Center. We're also going to be looking at new bleachers and flooring too. So Salgado Center is going to get some love. We're looking to award a construction contract April 4th to renovate 4 more restrooms in the city at Angel Park, Heritage Park, Riverview Park, and Windsor Park. And on April 18th, we're looking to award a construction contract to renovate Centennial Lake. That's going to be a pretty big project. It's the first major investment that we've done since that lake was built in 1978, and it's a pretty comprehensive, holistic biological approach. So really exciting that we were able to close the funding gap on that one and make it happen. And we're really wanting to push and get that going before summer gets here with hot weather. Major projects that we have underway, you already know about, but let me give you some updates. The Santiago Park Gas House area development is still coming along. We're still looking at a probably May, June completion. Weather has been crazy, has impacted us a little, but it's still moving along. The same with Ed Carruthers Park and the Santa Anita Park redevelopment project. And as Tim mentioned earlier, We were fortunate to be able to add $5 million to that construction contract to build a new community center. We retained an architect to help us do that as a design build project, which means we are going to be designing it and building it almost at the same time to fast track it. We've been meeting bi-weekly with the architects since we kicked off, been going through a process to lead us to a floor plan that was within our budget. And I think we're just about there. And the good news is we were able to accommodate, I think we're going to be able to accommodate the programming that we're after. So we are contractor sharpening his pencil. We're going to go probably through a value engineering exercise and finalize the concept. And then we're going to start developing the contract documents. So that's moving along, and it's really exciting. Santa Ana Zoo, the giant river otter exhibit that's currently underway. We were successful in I should say with this has not been approved yet, that we're being recommended for an additional $1.5 million of general fund as part of the mid-year budget update to put towards that project so that we could include 2 more primate exhibits. So that's really exciting to be able to do that. And I think that is, did I say we had 22 projects? No, that's all I want to highlight, and I will conclude and answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Nelson?
Yeah, I appreciate the Santiago guests, the update on that, because in passing, I've been asked by three different people, when is it going to be done? Because that live in that area, and they walk through there like it seems like it's been under construction for quite some time.
It has.
So at least now I can tell them May or June, give or take. Which
Yeah,
would be
we're real
fantastic.
close. We're approaching the finish line.
And my only other question, so the Dan Young Sports Complex, and I've kind of, I don't even know why but I have taken an interest in turf, and well, I guess I do. I have 2 boys that play soccer and love that sport, but watching and seeing some other facilities that have been upgraded throughout Southern California, I noticed that they are putting underneath like an underlayment of like kind of a hard foam. It's supposed to apparently extend the life of the actual turf, and then also safer. Is that something that's going to be, I guess most of the turf fields that we have in Southern California have been made over, a base gravel sand kind of combination, which eventually wears out the turf, right? So this is one way to extend it, I guess, by like 5 or 10 years. What kind of turf are we getting at Dan Young? Do we know?
It's the company is called Field Turf, and it's called Cool Turf. And it's one of their top, one of the top of the line products. And the lifespan is about 10 years. And there is a field turf care contract that that is part of the construction contract, where we will have field turf come out regularly to maintain it, which will in turn help extend that lifespan.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's some turf that's gone in Carson, California, that they put and it's supposed to extend it to like about a 15-year lifespan, which is, and it's, I just was kind of curious. I mean, I know there's the cost, I'm sure it goes through the roof at some point, but what's, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of appreciate that.
Yeah, Field Turf is a top of the line company. And when we were going through the process of evaluating the different types of turf that they offer, and this is not that much more. Let's go with this one.
All right. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh,
Nelson.
I'm sorry. I like, tennis court usage. So I'm going to bring it up another time. Just curious. I mean, once again, I think that there's some, other joint use type, with tennis courts and whether it's pickleball or futsal, I think we should still continue to look at that as a way to create services and for both youth and adults. So any input or anything you guys can bring back to us as far as what are our tennis courts being used for? I mean, and how often it would be fantastic.
Yeah, and I could tell you that we're having those discussions, haven't made any commitments. And along with internal discussions, as we go out to speak with neighborhoods, we want to hear from them too. And we are, we'll make a decision based on all those factors, but thank you for bringing that up. We are having those discussions.
All right, fantastic. Thank you.
Any Commissioner Diaz?
I have a quick question. I would like to find out if by any chance repairing or replacing some of the stadium seats, it's part of the budget, because some of the seats are broken and when you sit on it, it pinches, it hurts. You want to get up.
Yeah, I can tell you that it is on an unfunded projects list. So it's in queue. Don't have a budget yet for it, but yeah, agreed.
Commissioner Zacarias Torres?
I was a little upset to find out about the passing of former Parks and Rec director Gerardo Moet. He was very influential in starting up the community garden program, which is offered me the opportunity to have a flexible school schedule while going to school full time. I wanted to see if there were any plans to dedicate something to Gerardo, who recently passed away.
I know that there are discussions. I don't have any details.
We've had some discussions on that, but we got to make sure we go through the right process to do it. But there are discussions going on.
Is there a way to become involved in that process, or what would the process be?
You can always reach out to, your commissioner and, they can always bring it to the dais as well.
Great. I do have, thank you, Susie, for providing the update on the Santiago Park Greenhouse. I think weather permitting, I think by May or June, I think it's been raining a couple of, and so I can see how that has impacted the timeline. I think I did see a list of closures for Q1. I think if we can maybe publish something on our social media in relationship to Q2 park closures.
Yes.
So that way we can, the residents are informed, and, I think our social media game is really strong and folks can see it and they're like, great, I anticipate not going there, or, I think I also wanted to, I think mention I know thinking about the summer, and I know it's raining right now, but it will be very hot and humid, as the summer comes, and thinking about if we can extend park hours for one or two of our parks during the summer, around maybe a basketball court for folks to kind of maybe up until 10 or 11. I know it gets really hot and folks don't have AC, and so hanging out by the park, I think, or playing basketball, I think are activities that folks are I saw last year. So I just wanted to just, mention that I think it would be great to kind of see if possible to extend our park hours, not all of our parks, but just kind of a few parks. Yeah, Commissioner Diaz.
How about splash pads? Have we thought about having splash pads at the city? Because, last summer temperatures were really high. So would like to find out if splash pads on any of the, future plans, or.
Yes, we are having those discussions. And there are, we're settling in on locations. Yes, yes, we will be adding them to our system. The big question is how many and where.
Great. No questions, Susie. Thank you so much for the
Thank you so
presentation.
much.
Okay, I think next on our agenda is an update, a report from manager Ethan Fisher for the zoo. And would you like to provide comments, executive director? Or do you
Yes.
think we should move on? Okay.
No, I can provide comments. Ethan's on a well-deserved vacation on the other side of the world right now in Taiwan. So he's hopefully he's gonna come back with some great stories for us. So I'll briefly go over what we got going on at the zoo. A lot of exciting things. We'll start with our animal services. We recently had 3 female RIAs that were acquired from a private agriculturist from San Diego. RIAs are large flightless birds native to Argentina that live in South America Grandlands. We actually hatched a bunch of those this past year, so they're really fun birds to check out. Our outstanding veterinary had a couple of procedures, and they do outstanding jobs out there. Fortunately, with one of our RIAs, we had to have some eye surgery and a tooth extraction. We work together, with our Emperor Tamarins. We've got, a couple dental procedures. So our animals do get some really first-class cares there. With our education side, we've had a few school field trips out to the zoos that happen Thursdays, and they come between 9:30, 10:30 or 10 a.m. And are explorers that come to observe animals, to identify different habitats. So they get a special presentation before they actually go into the zoo. And we also have some self-guided visits where students of all ages can discover something amazing at the zoo. Group reservations are required, but they do get a discount with this. They can build curriculum with activities at the zoo website, and then reservations are available Wednesday through Friday between October 1st and June 1st. And also at the zoo, we do have a lot of employment opportunities for those maybe looking for a summer job, part-time job. They can visit our governmentjobs.com /careers at Santa Ana. We do have a full-time veterinarian technician available, which, is a great opportunity. Program leaders, maintenance attendants, and a clerical aide. This past Sunday, we did celebrate our 71st birthday out there at the zoo. So that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of birthday enrichment treats for the animals, scavenger hunts, and, a bunch of fun activities for the kids. Then this past March 2nd, we did have a Read Across America out at our elementary schools. Also happened to be the birthday of Dr. Seuss, and it's also referred to as Dr. Seuss Day. So they celebrated with books throughout the United States, and our zoo team went out and read some of those. Like Susie mentioned, with our giant river otter and primate project, those are well underway. But as visitors go, they'll see more and more happening. So it's coming. The replacement of the filtration vessels were just put in, so that's really neat. And the pillars for the underwater viewing are starting to go in place. So that's really exciting. If you guys have noticed out there by the zoo, they have the Caltrans Clean California improvements. If you guys have noticed right there, you can see a big old Santa Ana mural with the Sunburst logo marking entry into the city. So they're doing a lot of improvements right there. And then last but not least, we did have some roof repairs completed at the cafe and gift shop, including a new facade and weatherproofing. And then some exciting things. There's also some volunteer updates. So volunteers are back in full swing with orientation to volunteers. If they're looking to do that, we have a new volunteer orientation in April. And then additional information is available at the Santa Ana Zoo /support city jobs. And 2 of our bigger events are coming up at the zoo, as well as we have our Planet Day out there in May that's coming up. More information will be coming like that. And we also have our Zoo Fari with the theme of looking through the looking glass. That is set for Saturday, August 19th. And one of the more exciting ones we're excited for will be a new one called the Brew at the Zoo. So we do have a date, which will be Friday, July 28th. Visitors to this event will receive a souvenir glass and the opportunity to sample the craft beers of 15 plus local breweries. There will be more details coming in spring. I can tell you this right now, a lot of people are excited for that. I have done some in my past, and it's going to be a great fundraising opportunity for our zoo. And also stay tuned. We've got some really exciting news that are pertaining with our monkeys very soon that we're going to be excited to share with you guys. And that's all I have for the zoo. And again, if these tropical storms will stop hitting our coast, we can be open more and more, but we do love the rain.
Thank you so much, Executive Director Scott. Any questions from the
any
commission?
questions?
Seeing none, I think we can move forward. We have a Parks, Recreation, and Community Services presentation, a report from Manager Pagano.
Good evening again. I know I've been up here a lot today, so I'll try to be very brief, but the one thing I wanted to bring to, the commission's attention is March. At this time last year was when the light switch went on for Parks and Recreation in terms of our programming being down for 2 years and everything. And I just want to share how proud I am of our team with the leadership that we have and everything like that. We took a very incremental approach to bringing back programming, bringing back events to the community and everything. And we always talked about, in summertime, we were going to be at 25%. In fall, we were going to be at 50%. Right now, we're at 75%. Summer is going to go off, and we're very excited for all the things that we're planning and everything. But just a testament to our Parks and Recreation staff for the work that they've done to get us to where we're at in just that 12-month span of time. So just wanted to kind of give a shout out to our team and all the effort that they've done over that time. And I think it shows. Just a few updates with regards to our senior services section. A lot of activities taking place. I'll kind of just do a 10,000-foot flyby. Emergency food assistance program, Meals on Wheels, senior transportation program. As a side note to the senior transportation program, at the last council meeting, we had a mid-year ask where we reallocated some funds that we had from our senior mobility program. So we're actually adding a recreation coordinator to our senior services section, which will oversee the senior mobility program, which will be able to expand it. And then in addition to that, at the budget development process, we're going to be asking for 3 full-time recreation leaders, which will be our drivers for the senior mobility program. So again, a lot of expansion going there. So we're really excited about those additions to our team. Our recreation classes are offered daily at the senior center, ranging from exercise classes, English classes, our collaboration with the Santa Ana College, which focus on healthy aging, cultural appreciation, body work and fitness. So a lot of variety that's taking place over at our senior center. They went to this LA Zoo today as a major excursion. We took 125 seniors to the LA Zoo. So hopefully they had some pretty good weather. It wasn't too rainy for them, but I imagine we'll have some very good stories with regards to their trip and everything. Our next major excursion will be taking place in May 23rd, where we're going to be taking the seniors to Old Town San Diego. So that also will be a very fun trip for our senior population. Our in-person congregate lunch program and our commodities program, we're serving about 884 meals for the month of February over at Santa Ana Senior Center, with about 125 seniors being serviced for the commodities program, emergency food. And then at Southwest Senior Center, we had 986 meals that was at the congregate lunch program, and about 192 seniors were serviced through the commodities program as well. Our community education and outreach, which is led by Bill Sandoval, our recording secretary, charge of our recreation classes, our education classes and everything. So those are being organized: ballet and creative dance, hip hop dance, guitar, yoga, danza folklorico, Zumba, piano. Those are all the classes that are being farmed out to our centers and everything. And his team is doing a great job. I think it's been mentioned a couple times before, but this Saturday we have our Springfest Resource Fair. And that's part of our Santa Ana Collaborative. And just kind of give some history on that. Bill approached me probably about a little over a year ago, and said, I really want to start bringing the CBOs, the community-based organizations together so that we can start having those conversations. And since that time, he's grown that group from 3 community-based organizations that not only include the nonprofits, but also our school district, members of our police department as well. So, again, it's grown to about 20 to 24 agencies that are all talking on a monthly basis and everything. And so they're going to highlight what they've been doing collaboratively this Saturday, in addition to the grand opening over at El Salvador for the teen space. So that is going to be taking place from 10 to 1 over at El Salvador. So we invite you all out there. There's going to be a lot of fun activities that are going to be taking place, and highlighting all the work that's being done by our collaborative. We had a successful Kids Night Out event on 3/17, hosted over 50 youth participants over at El Salvador. From our teen and youth programs, we have a wide variety of youth programs that are coming out of Salgado Center. That's kind of where our hub is in terms of our after-school program, our teen programs. Coming up shortly is our Arts Academy, which they're going to be offering programs about how to illustrate a poster specifically for the water department's poster challenge that's currently taking place, and that's going to be taking place March 27th through the 29th. Our teen excursion program is continuing to be well attended. We've enacted the 2 teen excursions per month, one being more of an educational, informational based. So in February, 15 participants attended a behind the scenes tour of the Santa Ana Zoo, which was really cool and I'm sure very experiential for those that attended. And then later on that month, we took 46 participants to the Medieval Times dinner and tournament show. Upcoming teen excursions include a trip to Fire Station 78, which is right on New Hope. So I'm sure, again, another behind the scenes experiential opportunity for the teens that are going to be participating in that. And then we're going to follow that up with the Anaheim Ducks game. Go Ducks. Health and wellness. Our Santa Ana, this is kind of health and wellness and also a special event, just an announcement, but our Santa Ana Fun Run 5K, 10K, Kid Dash, and Fit Fest will be taking place April 21st and 22nd. We're really excited about this because we're kind of repackaging the 5K and adding some value to it. And so typically it's taking place in October. This year we decided to move it to the springtime because that's before that used to be like a really dead time for us in terms of special events and everything. It's happening that's not the case anymore, but now we're at, like I said, we're adding value. We're bringing in a kids component on Friday night, which will be April 21st. Well, there will be early bib pickup for all of our 5K, 10K participants, and food trucks and fun and mascots that are going to be coming out from the local schools, cheerleaders. So we're going to make it really nice for the kids to come out and make it more of a family event, and then follow it up with the 5K, 10K the following day on the 22nd. And then shortly after the 5K and 10K completes, we're going to have a Fit Fest where we're going to feature health and wellness, healthy food choices, food trucks, all that type of thing. We'll have a beer garden so participants can enjoy a nice cold one after their race and everything. But there will be fitness demonstrations as well, which I think is a really cool component that we're going to be bringing to it as well. One last thing I'll add about the 5K, 10K, through a generous donation with Northgate Markets, the entire event is free. So we were thinking about charging or assessing a fee for the 10K, because as a 10K runner, you're a little bit more serious than maybe just the walk run of the 5K component. But Northgate came in and they were already committed to the Kids Dash. And we went back to them and said, hey, what did you think about maybe, being a little bit more generous? And they agreed because they see the value in what we're doing. And so this year, the event is completely free. It's just a matter of registering and everything. And I think Director Scott actually has our current numbers as far as registrations go. So I'll turn it over to him.
Yeah, it's exciting. We're like, as of today, we're 1 month away from the race, from the Friday night, festivities. So currently and again, registration's free. Like Tim said, you can go online, register who you want. So we want people listening. If you guys can press the word, get people registered. So for our kids 100-yard dash, which is ages 3 to 4, we've got 21 registered right now. For our kids 200-yard dash, ages 5 to 6, we've got 27 registered right now. For our kids 300-yard dash, which is ages 7 to 8, we've got 24 registered right now. And for our last but not least, our kids 400-yard dash, which are ages 9 to 10, we have 27 registered. Currently for the 5K, we have 750 people registered. And for the 10K, we have 429 registered. So again, we've had this open for about 2 weeks now. We still have a month to go. So, in total right now, we've got 1,278 participants, and we can see, the gender, and we can see the age. We see all over the place, which is great to see. And one of the cool things we're gonna be doing with the race is there will be age categories. So, you know, we're getting more and more to where one day when we start doing it 10Ks, it could be a qualifier for, you know, something bigger in a thing. So again, Tim and his team, and again, shout out to Northgate for, you know, stepping up. So again, these are great starting numbers. Thanks.
Thank you. That's exciting for me because that was like real time. Like, oh, we touched base probably about a week ago, and they were good because it was the initial kind of registration. But to hear those numbers, it's very exciting. Going back to health and wellness, nature and action, our Roosevelt Walker Community Center has built a partnership and a pilot program with the Santa Ana Zoo, which is introducing participants to nature, animals in their natural habitat, and much more. So that's taking place over at Roosevelt Walker. They've also developed a partnership with the Gasol Foundation, named after Pau Gasol. He has a galactic sports program that is a 10-week program that takes place every Wednesday. And while they're teaching the kids skills and drills about different sports, specifically basketball, soccer, and track and field, the focus is on healthy habits. And so they deliver all of those healthy habits and healthy lifestyle education tips through the sport. And so we are maxed out. It had a cap of 40 kids, and we had 40 kids the first day. So that is being very well received by the Roosevelt Walker community. Speaking to the adult-based programming, meditative yoga will be introduced at Roosevelt Walker starting Wednesdays in April. So there's more information that will be coming out to that, but that's targeting older adults, you know, evening times, you know, after work, all that type of stuff. So we're really excited about that too. Aquatics. We're really excited about our aquatics program. We're having some challenges and we could use your help. There's a national lifeguard shortage across the nation. Everybody's basically borrowing and stealing lifeguards. So we're taking a little bit of a different approach where lifeguards is kind of like the very top of what you could be in the aquatics field in terms of certifications and everything. What we want to try to do, because we realize that Santa Ana has kind of suffered a lack of aquatics programming for a relatively long time, is we feel like we're even hurting more in terms of lifeguard recruitment because of the lack of swimming and the lack of access to aquatics facilities. So to try to get homegrown talent to come out, and at least we had a lifeguard boot camp that took place a week ago, and we had 2 individuals that showed up, both Santa Ana kids, and one kid didn't even want to get in the water. He just wanted to show up and see what it was all about. And we tried to convince him to get in the water, but he said, no, I want to work for aquatics, but I don't want to get in the water, which led us to believe, okay, we are even more of a deficit in terms of our homegrown talent than maybe other communities that surround us and stuff. So what we're asking the commissioners, please, we have a couple more lifeguard boot camps that are going to be taking place. I have the dates right here. We have one next, today's the 23rd, right? Tomorrow, the 24th, we have one the 31st, and we have one April 6th. So any young people that are 15 and a half and above can come out and go through our lifeguard boot camp. And again, all it is to demonstrate the skills necessary to be considered a lifeguard. One of the things that we're shifting to is if you don't necessarily have the technical skills to be a lifeguard, we can teach you to be a water safety instructor, which is the main thrust of what our aquatics program is going to be this summer, is to teach kids to swim. And again, we need people to be in the water so that we can instruct them on how to do the basic strokes to make sure that they're water safe. And we do drowning prevention education for not only the kids, but also for the families, because I think that's really important, especially for our community as well, too. So we're asking for not only the public's assistance, but for our commissioners to also spread the word with regards to our lifeguard boot camps, and then also our lifeguard training opportunities. Our first training opportunity is actually going to be taking place this weekend, the 24th through the 26th. So the next one, I'll be able to share that information so that we can try to draw in some lifeguards so that we can begin to train them as we prepare for summertime. Our community engagement team, I think Chairperson Herrera has mentioned it. Social media is really starting to catch on. Really proud, Mr. Uribe over here is part of that team. Corey Lance, our supervisor, and Oscar make up a very small team of our community engagement team. We've got 3 people that are our social media, all of our flyers and all that type of stuff, and they've been absolutely killing it. And I think the community is starting to catch on to that and recognizing that. And I think it's kind of where I let off earlier as far as why our summer is going to be so successful, because we just got this momentum going on and this energy that we're really experiencing, and much to the credit of our community engagement team. Since the last time I reported, they completed a new website architecture for PRCSA, so it's a little bit easier to follow, a little bit more user-friendly as far as to navigate. The focus on the upcoming months is to promote the Santa Ana Fun Run, the excellent egg hunt adventure, adult kickball, and then the Brew at the Zoo events. And then our Instagram followers now has surpassed 3,000 followers. So we're tracking all that as far as the community engagement that we have. Going back to our special events, like I mentioned before, the excellent adventure egg hunt at Centennial Park will be taking place April 8th, and that's from 9 to 1. And it has multiple age categories. And in addition to this year, we're actually having a therapeutic recreation component, which will focus on special needs kids that will have an opportunity to have the experience of the egg hunt, but away from the hustle and bustle of what we're actually, what we would normally see, just being very mindful of, some of their special needs and everything like that. So we're excited to bring that into our special events programming component. Already discussed the 5K, 10K. Movies in the park have been planned. We'll be going out and letting everybody know which parks we're going to be targeting this year, and which communities they're going to be in addition to what movies. Juneteenth is being planned as we speak. So there's a lot of conversations about the talent and entertainers that are going to be on stage and the format of the show. So be on the lookout for more information there. And then our summer concerts program has also been planned, and we're just waiting for the right time to kind of deliver that information to start creating excitement within the community. And with that, I will conclude my presentation, and I'm here for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Manager Pagano. Do we have any questions or comments from the commission? Commissioner Nelson?
So how many lifeguards do we need?
We are targeting 30 this year, because right now we're looking at operating 4 aquatics facilities, Memorial, El Salvador, Salgado, and I'm missing one, Jerome. Jerome, El Salvador, and Salgado are relatively small pools, so we feel like we can get away with the amount, a decent amount of guards there. Memorial's a beast, and so we're going to have to be very creative in terms of the programming that we deliver there, in addition to the amount of guards that we assign there. So we're looking anywhere between 30 to 35 guards.
And do you have any now, or are we still?
We have an on-site hiring fair today, and to what I received in terms of information as I was sitting here listening to the other presentations is we had 4 lifeguards that applied to be a part of our crew, and we have about 2 to 3 that are in the process. So it's every year with aquatics, it's a game of chicken. I mean, you're waiting for spring break to happen. You're waiting for kids to start looking towards those summer jobs and everything. But it's a very scary game of chicken, because if you don't have lifeguards, you don't have aquatics programming.
So, and then my next question, what is the pay to be a lifeguard?
Oh, that's an excellent question. It starts at $18. So, I mean, I know when I started my recreation career, I started at $4.25. So you tell me $18, I'm going, you guys are lucky. So yeah, starting pay is about $18, but that's negotiable depending on experience. Again, if you're a swim team member, if you're a water polo player, if you're a surfer, and you kind of share that with us, and we take you through the technical aspects of what it means to be a lifeguard, that is a negotiable, especially considering availability and what we intend to do in terms of our programming and everything.
So I guess my next question is, so as far as us as a city, are we going to the high schools and trying to and actively? Okay.
Yeah, and we've gotten a lot of interest, surprisingly enough, from the freshman group, the very young 15-year-olds, which is great for next year, because again, a lot of them are 14, turning 15 or 15 and a half. In the city of Santa Ana, we hire at 16. So there's a little bit of that age discrepancy where we're kind of in that limbo right now, but We've made contact with a lot of young people. We continue to go out to schools, talking to swim teams, talking to water polo teams, athletic directors. And I think the one thing that I would share, from at least aquatics perspective is, again, just come out, because we're kind of shifting the paradigm. If you can't make the lifeguard because of the technical skills that is required, we'll still train you to be a water safety instructor. As long as you're water safe, we'll get you in the pool, which is, again, waist deep, and we'll teach you the skills to where you can effectively teach a swim lesson to a child and everything. And I think that's kind of the paradigm shift that we're exploring right now as we continue to build our bench for our aquatics program moving in the future.
I would just suggest talking to the administration, even though the athletic directors, they have a lot on their plates, but as administrative staffs on campuses at schools, they have a pretty good idea of what kids may be looking for a job, may need a job, may need to get involved in the community, right? So I would, probably shoot out something to all the principals and say, hey, we're looking, and they'll blast it out and kind of get it through all the counselors to whoever else that can maybe help.
That's a great idea.
Direction.
We'll definitely share that with our aquatics team.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
Commissioner Diaz?
I have two suggestions. One, I would like to see if you can add Pacific Park neighborhood to the movies at the park.
Okay.
We call it Movies at the Pacific. On the back area, the grass area, is a Roosevelt Walker. So that, and the second one is I would like to see the events to be a little bit more scattered to the different parks. I see that many of the events are just over to Salvador Park, which is okay. But if we can move them, let's say Madison, or, move one to Cabrillo, scatter them a little bit more, because I do see way too many at the same location. And so I don't know if that's something that could be considered in the future.
Sure. I mean, it's certainly something that we consider when we do all of our special events programming. The issue comes into play is parking. All of our parks have very limited parking, with the exception of like Centennial. I can't even probably name another park that has enough parking for like our citywide special events. So the ACON, there's no way, because we were expecting 1,600 participants last year. We had 5,000. So we're preparing for 7,000 people to come to Centennial Park this year. So, when we start talking about those larger events, we really only have a few options, but I understand and I hear you. And believe me, we try to spread it out as much as possible, but parking is a major factor. So I'm going to talk to my very brilliant friend, Susie, for all of our new parks to add a lot of parking. So.
Commissioner Zacarias Torres?
Along with music at the park, do we also plan on having like local DJs? I normally go to Long Beach for summer events or LA. And I'm always like, why can't we have this at home? Why do I have to go to another city to enjoy summer events? And do we also have plans to have an event like Ciclavia, where the streets get shut down for bike or skateboard or scooters?
Sure. I've experienced, I call it Ciclavia. So we're talking about the same thing, but I've experienced that in other agencies, but I think it's a great idea. I think it's one of those things, one of those events that really draws the community together, especially by shutting down the streets and creating that continuous. And I think the great thing about Santa Ana is you have those really great long streets where everybody can just kind of enjoy and stuff. So I'll definitely bring that to my special events team and mention it. In terms of DJs, is it just DJs? Because I know that we have concerts, but are you thinking, trying to incorporate the DJs in some way, shape, or form?
Yes, the event I usually go to in Long Beach, and it's like once a month during the summer, and it's just DJs all day. So you have families that go and set up like picnics, and just families going in and out throughout the day, and some families just park a blanket and just hang out and have their picnics all day, and just see who the different DJs are. And we have a lot of talented musicians here. And even if we could incorporate like local musicians, that'd be great too.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that we're starting to discuss, possibly on Flower. Our special events team and myself have kicked around the idea of Friday nights on Flower as a summer concert opportunity and everything, or just kind of like what you said, just focusing on local artists, whether it be DJs or entertainers and everything like that. So that's definitely something that we're exploring. It's spacing, you know, and picking the right space that will be conducive to that in and out kind of mentality that you're talking about. But it's definitely something that we're starting to talk about. So thank you for bringing that up.
And then for the park, the movies at the park, I don't know if it would be a parking issue though, because I live in the Santiago Park area.
Okay.
And we would just walk over. So, I mean, I like the idea of having different movies at different parks. That way, people that live in the surrounding neighborhood are able to walk over to the park with their blanket and enjoy the movie.
Sure. And that's part of our planning process. We certainly are going to have a movie in each ward this year. And we try to target the one that kind of meets the need as far as walkability and also enough parking. So we're drawing people from outside the neighborhood to join us as well, too. Thank you.
Tim, yes, thank you. I wanted to ask if we have started to share to our senior centers about the opportunity to serve on our wonderful Parks and Recs Commission here. Or maybe there's a timeline here. It's like, hey, you know, at least to the public, come out and join,
Sure.
you know, come out and join the Parks and Recs Commission. I think, you know, there's so many areas to kind of oversee between our zoo, our library, our physical parks, the programming, that sometimes a lot of this information can get lost. And so if there are, for seniors that are out there, if you want to look over our programming and see how you can best provide programming and insight, I think the senior centers are great areas that I think those 2 seats are going to be needed to provide feedback. And so if there's an update.
Yes, there's an update. So myself, Bill and Juan, we've gotten together and gotten the information together. We were working with our city clerk. There needs to be, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 30-day readings that come to council. Correct?
That is correct, Executive Director. There has to be 2 readings at the city council meetings, and then we would have to wait 30 days on that. So we are currently working on that, and we've taken the first steps of just seeing the development of an application and then how we are going to move from point A to point B.
So right now we're trying to fast track it. So we're looking probably the first time where we will have 2 seniors on this board will be the July meeting. Juan has kind of put the interest, our senior services supervisor at both senior centers. So there is a little bit of interest going around, but once we get all the details and stuff like that, then we'll go from there. So it is a work in progress, and we are targeting for our meeting in July to have them up on the dais with you guys.
Great. So I guess it's not official, but if folks are watching the city council meetings, they'll see that the council is discussing this item. So please follow along for that official timeline. I also wanted to, let's see. The excursion programs, I call them community excursions. The Wilderness Club, I think, is great. I did get feedback for folks that if we can do like a pickup location, or I think as we're kind of thinking for the next round is having like a pickup location at different wards. I know Roosevelt Walker folks are like, I want to just walk to the area to be picked up. I know you mentioned parking, but to the extent that there's different areas to be picked up for the Wilderness Club, I think would be great. I think, and as what was mentioned, for the movies in the parks, I did attend those events last year and they were really amazing. If there's, if in terms of how gathering community input for the types of movies that are out there, maybe an environmental justice focused movie, I think would be great, or something about, loving our parks or environment. I think that would be, not all the movies, but I think one of the movies I think would be great to kind of talk about. And I do agree. I know you may be already in the midst of planning for the summer concerts and it may be already too late, but I think agree that if we're going to get local talent to kind of help highlight them, and hey, this is Santana based music, and it's great. I know there's a lot of folks out there, and our social media component is doing very, very great. I think I register for a lot of events based on what's going on there, and so I do commend you all for really doing the social media game. I think it's very strong. I know in terms of like front facing things, in terms of updating our park reservation and facilities reservations webpage, I know I was looking at maybe like 2 weeks ago. So I think I was like, I told the executive director if we can get it updated sometime soon to kind of be with information that these are the fees, these are, and because I know other cities also lay that information out. And so it says to kind of call the department. I'm like, oh God, we can save time if this information is already publicly available. But I don't have any other comments, Manager Pagano. I think it's been great, and I look forward to seeing continued, programming. I know our meetings have been longer, but that's because we're doing so much great programming, and so commend you and the team.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I do have one more comment, it's really fast. I want to agree with Ms. Zacarias. Last year, I coordinated, I coordinated and planned the first concert at the Pacific. And the people who participated at the concert were residents. And some were the kids from Henninger Park, and others were from Roosevelt Walker. So I totally agree with her. The event was a total success. People couldn't even believe that one of our neighbors, sang so beautiful. Supposedly she's really shy, but she shined and she did a really good job. So I agree with her.
Yeah, and I agree too. Last year was the first year that we actually ran our concert series, so there was a lot of learning about the areas in which we placed the actual concert, the bands, the music that we were doing. We did have a front band for each one of them, and we were working with the School of Rock that I think is just located down Bristol for a majority of them, and we had youth bands. But I think it's a great suggestion to try to see if we can kind of tap into the local youth in terms of their talents, or even local bands to be the front bands for our headlining band for that evening. So we'll definitely look into that.
I know Commissioner Wu was out during one of the concerts.
Yeah, that is true.
So I think check out and make sure that it doesn't overlap with any of our commission meetings. So we also can be out there enjoying the music. So
thank you.
Okay, great. Next on the agenda are commissioner comments. So I'll go down this list with Ward 1, Ward 2, Commissioner Zacarias Torres. This is the time for commissioners to each provide comments if they wish, but not totally required. Do you have any comments to provide for closing tonight?
Pass.
Okay. Ward 4, Commissioner Nelson.
Two things. Youth Sports Coalition, I believe we just had a meeting. I found out about it like 3 hours before and was not able to make it. But is there a set time to be able to, or like when there's the meetings you're going to be, where I could kind of, at least, I would love to just go and sit in on one and just kind of be a fly on the wall. But
Sure. We have one every March and every October. So those are the 2 times that we do it. I think we were discussing with America that we may want to have an impromptu one, because there's some discussion that is internal about some of the youth sports user groups and everything. So if that happens, then I'll make sure that we extend an invitation to you. But usually they take place in mid-March and mid-October.
okay, perfect. And then I know this is our first in-person meeting, but with all of the exciting things that we've talked about across the board, Kings Park or King Street Park. I have no idea where that is, but it sounds like a fascinating, something that I would love to go and check out. But I think, as a commission, I need to be guided by somebody who knows what's going on out there. So if we could do a field trip for us, I would love that. So.
We could certainly arrange something to meet out there. Susie?
Maybe just a tour, maybe just drive around and kind of hit some hot points within the city, I think, because I know my neighborhood and as I drive down the main roads, but there's so much more to this that we could all learn from, I think. So
Do you have any sites other than King Street that pop into anyone's mind, or would you like us to make some
I think
recommendations?
Santiago Park is a beautiful transformation that I think we can really demonstrate. I know we've been investing a lot of money into the park.
also, I'm obviously the soccer pitch, Cesar Chavez, that sounds very interesting. I mean, you know what? You pick out the highlights and we'll just enjoy it. I think that's pretty much where I would
You
go with
bet.
it.
It'll be fun. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Recording secretary, in terms of the Brown Act and having us all there, as if it's a sponsored event for all of us, are we all allowed to be there at the same time?
Thank you, Chairperson. So if this is going to be considered a meeting, we would have to treat it as that. We would meet at a location and the public would be invited to also participate on that.
Okay, great. So I think it would just be a meeting. We would just have to advertise it and have public also join us in a parks tour. Sounds amazing. Sounds fun. Commissioner Diaz, any closing comments?
I just want to thank each and every single one of you. You guys are doing such a wonderful job. And the most important thing is you guys are listening to the communities and we see it. And so I just wanted to say thank you.
We have comments from Commissioner Zacarias Torres.
I just wanted to see if there was a way that within Parks and Rec, we could allocate some time in our community centers to help people register for the wilderness parks or the teen excursions. I work at a local community center that's not part of the city. And I've been sharing the flyers about the wilderness program, and the parents are interested, but because their English is limited, their knowledge of the technology is a little bit limited. I've had to allocate some of my office hours to help them out and actually do the application with them. So if maybe we could also promote that there is help available for families that are interested in participating and registering to get assistance with that. And I'll also be bringing up to City Council about doing something for Head Out of the Moet, but if maybe there could also, I know there's already conversation about that, but if we could also bring it up.
If I may just respond, all of our community centers are capable of taking people through the registration process, and we have a lot of bilingual staff that would be able to share in Spanish. And I think we may even have a couple people over at the Salgado Center that are actually fluent in Vietnamese too. So wherever we can help that, and we thank you for helping during your office hours and everything. With regards to Mr. Moet, might be a good opportunity, seeing that you're on the ad hoc committee. That might be an appropriate venue to share that as an option for the Standard McFadden site. I don't know if that's necessarily what you were thinking of, but at least it can start the conversation around, identifying a space to honor his memory and everything and his contribution. So that usually is kind of the right avenue. And then going from there, obviously working with your elected, designee and everything like that to bring that to the forefront is definitely the right avenue in that aspect. You're welcome.
Great. I think I'll provide closing comments. We've been Mayor Pro Temp Lopez and I have been working on a community park cleanup with OC Habitats, and we have it scheduled for March 29th next week from 2:30 to 4 p.m. It's been amazing seeing a lot of the high school students come out, and we had middle school students last month come out and clean up the creek. And there's a lot of microplastics that we pick up and glass, and so please do not throw your trash out into our parks. We have brand new trash cans and also the ability to recycle, and so it's a little sad to see these things, but we do have youth that are out there and are very much working hard from other cities that actually come to our city, because I do talk to them about us being a poor park city, and that their contribution to cleaning up our parks is really important, and that they really help to contribute to all of our city being, beautified. I also want to talk about Pawnee. Pawnee is a native gathering and celebration of protection and preservation of our land. It's going to be in South Orange County on Sunday, April 2nd. You can park at the San Mateo. It's going to be at the San Mateo campground. You can go there and to the Concordia Elementary School, and they'll provide transport between the elementary school and this event. So I just wanted to share that. And I know that I did see some comments online in relationship to the cancellation of park reservations. You know, I don't know the individual that was kind of posting, but you know, maybe I think at the next meeting or in subsequent meeting, we can talk a little bit about like, I guess, you know, I don't want to get so much into, you know, kind of that specific situation, but I think just maybe general policies as it relates to, you know, facility reservation or cancellation. I think, you know, I just for it to kind of, you know, objectively share, you know, I know they were disgruntled, and I as mentioned, I don't know the individual, but I did see it on social media, and there was a lot of social media interaction around that. But
I failed to mention that our next meeting, our special events supervisor will be providing the presentation, and it actually falls under her purview of the special event permits that happen at our parks and everything. So I'll let her know that to provide some feedback with regards to kind of our procedures and everything.
perfect. Thank you so much, Manager Pagano. And I think that's it. This is the conclusion of the meeting. The next regular meeting will take place on Thursday, April 27th here in the chambers. Meeting is adjourned at, oh, Executive Director, did you have any last final comments?
Well, if you're gonna let me speak, sure.
Of course, yes.
No, I mean, again, I know it's 8:15, but I mean, you four and hopefully your other colleagues can see that, you know, what the team is doing is, you know, we're moving in the right direction. And, you know, we ask, you know, you four as well as the other ones, you know, to advocate for us. You know, we are in budget season and, you know, we are going to try to grow. We want to expand our programs. We want to expand what we offer. We want to expand our senior services or, I mean, everything. I mean, we have a big plan, you know, we want to get there, but, you know, it's the community going out and advocating for what we want to do. So we know, again, my hats off to everyone here, everyone that's giving thing, you know, Susie works hardly, Tim, you know, Brian, and what they're doing to, you know, I mean, there's so many big things that we want to do, and there's so many things that are going to happen, but, you know, it takes time, it takes funding, it takes the support from you guys as well as our community. So, you know, I just want to thank you guys and, you know, all my coworkers here. So, you know, just keep advocating for us. So we're going to keep delivering. I promise you that. So thank
Great.
you.
I think we'll all be champions for additional funding and more funding and fully funded Parks and Recs Department. Meeting is adjourned at 8:18.